Hey, hey, hey!
Hello, Twitch. How's it going? Welcome, Internet, to the Violet Sea, the actual play uh, live stream of our custom game, custom setting, and even custom system, the Try system. It's a whole deal, and the only show that has made me consider, like, if I can get away with making space, or I guess sky barnacles, like conduct electricity. Like, I'm like, is that a plausible thing I could do?
I don't know, heck, is
Eh.
that a thing?
Anyways.
Yeah, ask the resident biologist, right?
Do you want my comment on this?
Listen, everybody got
No.
on me about my sky barnacles, so I want to hear commentary on sky barnacles.
I don't know.
Official statement. Moving on.
No, anyways, so yeah, I'd like my players to introduce themselves in, I'd guess, overlay order going down. So it's like Foxy first.
All right, I'll take it. Well, hello, everybody. It's Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your current and only favorite fox. And today, I'll be for the first time taking on the role of the voracious, the awe-inspiring, the daring Captain Dre. A former slave turned ship captain through circumstance that I won't talk about, who is ready to plunge forth, discover great things, and reap some booty while we're at it. I guess we're for shifting down the road. That brings us over to
booty
Michelle
down.
next, yeah?
Hey,
Yes.
it's me, Michelle. Today I'll be playing Quinn Archer, our quiet and no nonsense bodyguard come sawbones medic on the ship.
Alright. Hey everybody, I'm Phil Prime. You may remember me from such roles on other channels as Parrot and Shmebulok. Today I'll be playing Reese, a transhumanist, half-android, who doesn't quite remember how he ended up in that state. We'll see how it goes.
Right, that brings it to me. Hey everyone.
Yee.
Me, Sir Heckalot, today I'm playing Arden Clark, the very tired grad student type, who goes by they them pronouns, so respect those or get bopped.
We bop people around here.
That's all I got. Let's move on to Lucian.
Alright, hi, I'm Lucian. I play Dr. Oliver Evans, our marble slinging material scientist. And, he's just like your typical middle-aged professor. He's here. He doesn't actually want to teach people. He just wants to research, and so he's kind of given up the university lifestyle to go do his own researching.
Sounds like most
Hello,
professors
it's
I know.
me.
Yee.
I'm Purple Phil, and today I'll be playing Maxwell Tuttle, and he is a historian who specializes in shipping and all the ships that travel the worlds and where they are, what they're named, what they did that was special. So I'm excited to find out what's special about our ship today.
It's the pipe organ, dude. I'm telling you.
Probably the pipe organ.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, those are my players. I'm happy to have all of them. It's a little bit of a bigger game than the last time I ran something on stream, and only the second game I've ever run on stream. So, like, here's hoping this goes well. And on top of that, like I mentioned at the top, this is the Try system, my custom system that I've made. There's a certain number of like assumptions and goals that you could say are built into the system. It's meant to be a little looser than say D&D, but still have like some good numbers and spending points and stuff like that. Just for you at home, so you know the very basics. My players are going to be rolling 3d6. It's the only thing they roll. And they add a stat and a skill, and then they can spend points, which they have various kinds of, to enhance those moves or do special things. We're going to see how this goes. I definitely, personally, am a little bit nervous. See how this works. This might go really, really well, or really, really not. But we're going to make this work. We're going to have a fun time with it.
You sure are.
And so, I want to sort of bring in the scene, the very first scene of this setting, that there is, in the cosmos, places that are like our world but not, that are close to the history and the technology and the culture that we know of, but changed by circumstance. And so we see at the start of this game, at the start of this story, a horizon that is almost like ours, but not. There's a blue sky and white clouds above. But instead of mountains or valleys, we see an ocean of purple clouds gently flowing along, like a fog. And as we see this, and we sort of like a camera turns, you see at the distance a large sort of whale-like creature, just the suggestion of something breaking through. You see birds that sort of fly above and below these clouds, diving in and out more fluidly than anything could do in our world. And then we see a small floating island. You can see that it's floating. Anyone would be able to see because it sort of sits just above the clouds, and a small, I guess a large sort of stream of clouds flow up into it, almost supporting it. And on it is a very small town. This is really more of a way stop. It is to the north of what's known as the Great Storm, and in fact, any who stand on this island could look to the south, and at least a third of the horizon is taken up with just this massive column of purple clouds swirling darkly, and distant flashes of lightning and the barest hint of thunder at this distance. There's a dock here. This is a place ostensibly to re-up on supplies. There's not really a lot of farming space on here, so it is all just things that you buy and things that you sell, and what can they get away with. And there are several ships on the dock. One we see is called the Lady Rachel. It has only sails, where many of the ones around it have air bladders, much like a zeppelin. And just off to that dock is a bar, affectionately known as the Pirate's Regret by the locals. Although it doesn't actually have a name sign, there was one at one point and it has been removed, probably by force. The little metal post that held it is bent. As we sort of step into this bar, there's the sound of jazz playing. There's a piano, there's a bass, there's drums, and there's a woman singing. And for all of those who are on our Discord, you can actually go to the show chat under the neon light shows, and I have linked a YouTube video of the show playing. It's low and mournful. The woman singing seems like she's singing about herself almost, for the amount of emotions she puts into it. Many people at the bar are listening, but not all of them. There is a table, not really in a corner, but still up against a wall, and there are 3 people right now sitting at that bar, and it is the 3 sort of, you'd say, the most important, or like the lead crew members of the ship. And so what I would like to do is have the 3 crewmates, starting with whoever wants to go first, describe their character in a little more physical detail and what it is you'd be doing as you're waiting to talk to somebody about a job.
Well, I don't know about people who aren't staying focused on what's happening right now, but sort of at the head of the table, not necessarily sitting down, almost leaned against the wall, is a relatively lithe man, darker skin, sort of off mahogany brown, piercing yellow eyes, a shock of auburn red hair and tight curls bound in a large bushel at his back. He has 3 flintlock pistols sheathed at his waist, along with a rapier-curved sword. A sort of padding of leather clothing that exposes his midriff and his arms and parts of his legs. He leans against the wall, and he is just enraptured by the woman singing, just longingly looking at her, just taking in every single word, slowly nodding his head to the tone, and just, man, she's gorgeous. A woman like that ought to make me a man. And honestly, I forgot what we were here for in the first place. I'm just focusing entirely on that.
What about the other 2 of you? Either Quinn or Reese.
Well, I guess Quinn is sitting with his back towards the wall. He's got his eyes on the exits, windows, taking a very solid stance, really. And Quinn is tall. Not like crazy tall, but he's definitely at least 6 feet. Black hair pulled back in a ponytail, gray eyes kind of just looking around, surveying, not really relaxing. He's got what looks like a nice dress shirt on, although there's still a little bit of a blood stain on the corner, as well as and he smells a lot like spices, just of all different sorts, and it has got a couple of knives concealed and exposed, just strapped all over him.
Okay. Reese, what are you doing?
Reese
At the table.
is, there's this kind of hooded, cloaked figure sitting along, with the other two. If you listen closely, you can hear kind of like the whirring of gears and a silent hum of machinery as he's reading and taking notes, and he happens to hear the captain mention, "Oh, she could make me a man," and he looks up from his notes and he just kind of goes, "Are you missing a piece? I could build that for you," and then looks back down and continues his writing.
It's a metaphor, boss, and you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna explain how those gears turn. You got it.
Someone else should explain that to you. Yeah, so that's sort of like the scene of this bar, and that's what a lot of the other three of you notice as you enter, with being led by one Professor Mithat Ozturk. Professor Ozturk is also like an average height man. He has darker skin, kind of like more brownish, reddish hair, but he holds himself the way only a specialist in a very specific subject who thinks that they know everything else does. Ozturk definitely walks in, looks around. He looks maybe a little off-put by the fact that this bar is a little dirty, but he immediately hones in on both Dre and Reese in particular. And Reese, yeah, you know this guy. He actually sort of picked you up off of a place that we'll mention later. And he's the reason you're even on this ship, the ship with the other three. And he is walking directly towards that without asking his sort of three companions who are with him, but the three of those of you with him. What's your reaction to entering this bar?
I hardly notice as I'm, frantically writing notes and
Yeah.
reading through these books, trying to figure things out.
I did meant the three academics who are with him, though. Sorry, but just wanted them to have a chance. I will call on people if you don't volunteer.
I'll start if no one else.
There you go, Tate. Get that teacher voice on.
Yeah, so
I've never done that before, so.
Maxwell Tuttle's kind of a well-dressed is probably the first thing you notice of him. He's got like a kind of black-looking suit, very high fashion kind of sense of like what you would expect a professor to be, like dressed well, looking well, clean-shaven, besides a nice bushy black mustache, pretty clean cut, and some dark blue eyes. He kind of walks with also very upright, much like the other professor before him. But he kind of like looks across this bar with like a look of like a little bit of like almost like disdain across it, of like this place is kind of like a little bit dirty, or not a little bit not as nice as what he'd be hoping for. So, but other than that, looks pretty emotionless kind of. He enters in.
Yeah. Arden will walk in, and is they're pretty slight in terms of build, and in terms of dress, they look presentable, but will get away or look like they're trying to get away with just like anything they can in terms of like dressing a little bit more casual, like a beanie that they have on. It's just like bare minimum presentability in an academic space, basically. And they walk in and look pretty tired. Maybe there's some makeup that's like barely holding up at this point. Just walking in, and doesn't seem too surprised by anything. It's kind of, yeah, this is pretty normal, run of the mill. They've maybe been to a dive like this at some point. Yeah, isn't too perturbed by anything and just is kind of following the professors.
Yeah, and I guess at the very end of the pack, in walks Dr. Oliver Evans. He looks the way you expect any other middle-aged man to look. You know, he's balding,
Unassuming.
not yeah, he's, you know,
He's
average
balding.
height, average build, balding, appears wholly uninterested in what's going on. The only sort of defining features are he has a scar across an eyebrow and like the top of his forehead, and also a colored glass somewhere between a monocle and an eyepiece on that same eye.
Okay. So yeah, if there's not something specific that you do as you're following him in, the sort of lead professor on this, Ozturk, walks up to the table, looks around, and you guys, the crewmates, have already set 3 chairs up on the other side, and Ozturk seems to be the kind of man that as soon as he looks at that, he looks over at the table, and he grabs a chair and puts it up in front of him, and he sits down very, like, properly, but he's, like, definitely trying to get all his ducks in a row immediately. And Ozturk sits down. You guys can sit down with him if you want or not, it's up to you, but he does immediately look to the very mechanical man in front of him and, Reese, it's good to see that you are doing well.
I would say that well is a relative term here. I'm functioning
Yes.
properly. None of my gears have, malfunctioned.
Not to make too much small talk, but have you remembered any more?
No. I've only managed to find one of my missing journals. But it was definitely written when I was still theorizing how to place a conscious in a body. So I'm not really sure how I got to this point.
He does, like, sort of scratch his chin for a second, but regardless, we're unfortunately here for some other business. And to Dre, it's like, I believe you got my letter.
I should ask her name. What? Oh, right. Hey there. Yeah. What's up?
You see him, like, Ozturk get a little, like, peeved. There's, like, a little bit of, like, at the corner of his eye, a little squint, just like, He's like, as I explained in my letter, I need to hire you for a job, and I couldn't talk about it via letters. And he sort of looks around. There's maybe, like, 8 other people at this bar. It's a good size. It's meant for, like, an entire crew of people to come in and, like, relax. So it is not remotely full, but he looks around at the other people and other singers, and he's like, I'm worried that we might be being followed in some way. So I wanted to talk about it in person.
Sounds like whatever you got going for it's pretty important. Means it'll pay well, yeah?
Oh, the matter of pay, you'll be rewarded. I just don't know why I'd be followed. It's not really important to anyone other than, well, me and possibly people like us. And he gestures to the 2 of you. You do know that you both descend from, like, the same continent of people. And in fact, the first time you've met this professor, he was just coming back from what is known as, and he says at this time, he's like, it's about the Wandering Continent.
Yeah, at the people like me, Dre, like, gets an interested look for probably the first time since the competition has started. Actually, like, at this point would now pull a chair and, like, sit, just go on.
Well, my colleagues and I, and he gestures to the other 2 professors, have, when you first met us, we were just coming back from an expedition onto the Wandering Continent. How familiar are you with the concept, with what it is?
Let's say I'm not the person that knows a whole lot about things like that. I'm not well studied.
This is fair. This is fair. and he actually has like a small map out. It's a pretty simplified version of like the world that you know. A lot of complicated maps because every landmass is islands that are floating on air currents. Have to have moving parts, but this one doesn't have that as much as it just has lines, and then like sections of the lines are colored to represent this is generally where nations are.
Yeah,
And
I
he
think-
has marked a specific spot on the map.
I think when he sees it, Trey will just hand wave, just like, I know the basics. I heard the stories. There's a continent that travels on a current up and down across the middle of the sea, and people want it for some reason. There's supposed to be a lot of riches there, treasure, wealth, whatever.
Yes, just sometimes when islands like the one we're on now are damaged or altered in some way, they stop floating completely on the surface and they start sort of oscillating. And he makes this hand gesture up and down. Usually it's small islands, and they're valuable because they go so deep into the ocean that various creatures end up living there, or at least valuable to academics like us. And I think specifically points at Arden as like the one who'd be most interested out of the three of the academics, like to us. But also you can mine them far more easily because you no longer have to worry about damaging them. They're already damaged. The Wandering Continent is simply the largest of these. And it's where, at least, I can trace my ancestry back to, and generally our people of the Storms.
Wait,
It was the most powerful nation there at the time,
you
before it was.
know about people like me?
He sort of smiles and I've made it my life's work to study this continent. It's where my great-great-grandfather used to live, and his journals detailed that out of nowhere, the continent of Retgenu just started to fall. People had to evacuate or drown in the Aether Sea. So I know quite a lot about the people who used to live there and the people near there. That's when a lot of the and he looks super awkward like mentioning this. He's like the unpleasantness with our people and the storm in general started.
Yeah, I know a lot about that part, I guess.
And he does look very sad, like precise.
I've never known where I'm from. This is news. Sorry, so you want us to go there, I'm guessing?
Yes, but and he sort of looks to the other three academics and well, when we left, I thought there was a ship that followed us out. And I didn't think of anything of it, but in the last 8 months, each of us have experienced. It seems like someone is maybe watching us. It's unsettling. And the only thing I can think of is the Wandering. That's the only thing we've all worked on together. And it is a valuable continent, just not the things we're researching are not. They're simply the history of why it fell. And he looks to the three academics, and I'd like you guys to tell me a thing that each of you might have noticed that you're like, hey, that's off. Like, someone is watching me, maybe. Like, none of you are super good at, like, spycraft or whatever, but, you know, how does that work?
I'll go first, I guess. So you see Oliver, he's got this kind of questioning look on his face, and he goes, I'm telling you, they may have been after my metal research. I still don't know if I believe you that it has to do with this. Alloys are very valuable these days.
It's true, friend, but I mean, then why would my letters have been opened? Why did my grant get rejected on this specific thing? I understand, but
I lost 3 months of research papers over this, taken from my drawers, just because we went to some continent.
Those were first authored papers too.
Oh yeah, real sob story.
Listen,
sorry, Tim is
this
making me laugh.
This is my life's work. I study these metals, not just for me, but for our society as a whole.
Sounds rough. Why don't you go over there and tell the lady over there? She might play you a song for it.
I'm too old to care about things like that.
You're too old for a lot of things, I bet.
Hey,
Oof. Oof.
sometimes that's just how life is.
Professor Ostrowitz, well, we don't need you to sympathize. He like puts a hand to sort of stop this argument. We don't need you to sympathize with the things we've lost. Just know that I can't seem to hire any other captains to take us there suddenly.
Well, that's a good thing for you, and a slight bit of convenience that my price just doubled. But if I'm your only option, sounds like you gotta pay whatever you gotta pay, yeah?
Yeah, Arden does like the like head down, like, don't tell them that.
You
kind
super
of
fucked
look.
that one up, huh?
But
Told him not to say that.
you know,
He's just like, it's the truth.
they just gotta brush that off. We'll talk about that later. Call it a hunch, call it a gut feeling, but when we were leaving that port and the ship followed us, I did see a couple of the people that were on board of that ship, not close enough to see too many defining characteristics, but quite a few of them were staring. I didn't like the vibe of it. Probably gut feeling.
Well, if someone's tailing you, then you're gonna need some guns to keep you safe. And I'm guessing the Pris party over here is probably lacking in firepower.
Well,
Or
it's
something.
more the need for a ship. We can't exactly wave our arms and get there.
Dre will throw a goofy smile at Quinn and say, well, lucky for you, we got the best ship around, eh?
Hey, Brat.
Yeah, you're ruining my moment.
I mean, you could wave your arms and get there. I would just need the time and the materials to help build you the right pieces.
He does look at you, Reese. Well, make that a plan B.
That sounds
I do-
interesting.
I do want to give Maxwell a moment to mention any way he might be followed, or like dismiss the idea or something like that
Yeah,
before
I
we
think
like.
I actually don't know that we are actually being followed, and I didn't see anything funny happening. I think this might just be a delusion in their heads. I mean, I think, as the other professor said, his alloy work is much more valuable than this. It might be that's where this came from, and maybe he thought some of you guys were in on it too. I didn't see anything.
I'm not gonna say you're gonna have to roll to lie about that unless someone wants to call him out on that shit.
Oh, I
but
don't
I
give a
would
shit.
still like, I would still like a roll, in like sort of a related deception thing, because I have a fun thought here.
Okay, yeah, you can just do deceive. 15.
15. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I do need to make sure I have these numbers up. So since this is a comedic success, so when you say that you're like, oh, I think this is all fake, you do see the professor sort of look at you. It's like, but I mean, when I found that mail of yours that was opened, you said that you hadn't done that. And he's referring to a time where you definitely were looking into other people's stuff and you just kind of rolled with it. You're like, oh no, this is mine, and someone's definitely been looking into it. And it was like, no, but you said that someone was looking into your mail the one time.
Probably
investigating
just a mistake. People, the letters were left out. I bet they must have thought it was for them.
Well, look, you're
So,
lying
yeah,
a big deal to me. What's more important to me is, well, what do we expect to be dealing with? Actually, you know what? I don't even care about that. You need a ship. We have a ship. You're paying us for it. So, what do you think, Quinn?
Yes.
Get the folks up for another sale?
Well, we do have all of the infrastructure in place. Right, Tin Man?
I think that's Reese.
Yeah, do you?
I mean, we should be all right as long as they don't touch the pipe organ.
Either pipe or go
The
to
last
leave that
time
alone.
the other three of you were on the ship, because you were on there at one point, there was no pipe organ. The three academics, that was not a thing that existed then.
What?
Yeah, you know, come
You
to think
heard
of it,
him, Beanie.
you three look familiar.
Yeah, I mean, the professor's like,
Not
yes,
four? We were all there.
we ran into you on the ocean almost immediately after that expedition, actually.
8 months ago. Huh.
Speaking of, where's Lady
8 months.
Bhavani?
Back on the
Perhaps
ship,
she can
taking
help
care of
with
things.
this. Oh, okay.
Like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
for the audience. They did meet at one point earlier. We did a little session 0.
like I said, I'm the Lady Rachel's captain, so I speak on her behalf.
Yeah, Ostrich, when you mentioned payment, he does like seem like a little and you as this conversation, he's like, but on the matter of payment, we do have an upfront payment that I discussed in my letter, which probably will not cover the cost of this expedition. It is simply a show of good faith, because the real payment is, well, about where we're going on the Wandering Continent. So he does flip his like world map over, and there's a more detailed map of this continent. And there's like a lot of X's on it. You can see that he's been making a lot of notes on like places he's checked. It's like, the last time we were on this expedition, when we found our friend Reese here, was 8 months ago. Was when that continent emerged from the ocean, and we had to leave when it floated above breathable air. He's sort of just explaining for those of you here who might not know everything, and he's so as soon as it gets back down into breathable air, we want to go back. And last we were there, we discovered a vault, and he points to this like big circle.
A vault, you say?
Yeah, the Rajani people were known for their metallurgy, for their material synthesis, for making things that could hold an aether charge better than even some things we have now. It's why I've brought my dear friend Oliver with us as an expert in that. They had quite a powerful military. It's why, until that point, no one had decided to try and take over the islands around the storm. We've found various vaults that have been opened before in various places, but you'll notice, and he points at that circle, this is quite a ways in. Will take us a little while to get to, even with your fine airship. And it's also quite well hidden. And he sort of, again, conspiratorially like leans in, because he's like looking around. He's like, I don't know of any powerful nation that hides such a valuable vault and keeps it so well sealed unless there's something worth taking. We are simply here to do the research. I would be willing to, at the very least, let you take the non-historical artifacts, and for the historical ones, allow you to, say, negotiate with our museum back at our school for what price they might be worth to them.
A vault full of treasures from my old people, huh? Sounds like it's mine by right.
Not the
Yeah, there's
metals.
like a smell to it.
We'll deal with that when we get there. Unless you're gonna shoot me for it.
I don't shoot people. That's
I do.
beneath me.
Wouldn't all the artifacts in this vault be historical?
Well, this was only maybe 100 years ago. We have very detailed records of the things that they told people about. I assume if they're standard guns and cannons and standard materials, there will be many of you can take. It's only the ones that are the secret things that they were developing that we have no record of that I'm really looking for.
Reese has
And
got a
any
point,
clues
though.
I can find as to why it sinks.
Reese has got a point, though. You're all the smarty pants here. Anything you call, say, historical, we don't really have set on. So, when we get to this vault, when we get into it, we get first call on what you can or can't take.
I would actually like a combative role on that, because
Bring it.
You can
Oh.
see, yeah, you can see Ostrich is like, no, you can't. And if any of the academics want to cooperate, or any of the pirates want to cooperate on his role, we can also do that.
I'll
so-
cooperate on that role.
I'm gonna be
For the
There's no
people
opinion.
at home, there are 3 kinds of roles. You either roll helping someone, roll against someone, or roll alone. But they can kind of be stacked and combined, so...
So I'm gonna be Dre here, and even though I have better points in subtlety, I'm gonna go with command and go for intimidate here because Dre's not fucking around.
And I'm just gonna roll to help him.
Cool. So here comes.
Yeah. So to roll to help, you have to use the same stat, but
gotta
you
use
add
command
both
as well.
of your skills together. Yeah, you'll have to use command, but you add whatever skill you want to and his intimidate skill.
Cool. So. All right.
So Ozturk, what are we doing?
I want to see their roll really quick. I mean, you guys have to roll as Ozturk is also going to be rolling defensively. So you guys who are rolling command, what stat is he rolling?
I'm gonna have him have to roll. Let's say subtlety away.
Like, how are you intimidating him later?
Because my goal to intimidate him is very much. Because Dre's not really like the most intimidating person, but he has this look in his eye, which very much says like when he says shit like "I'll shoot you," he's not fucking around. So he's very much giving you the look like, yeah, we get first call on what you say, and kind of has a look where it's like if you go against him on that, he's not afraid to be like, yeah, okay, but I'll shoot you over it. And as far as rolls go, it's a 14 before mods. So that's with my intimidate and my command. That's a 18 total.
And then what stat are you using, Reese, as you're helping him? And then give me some flavor as to how you're helping him.
I'm just kind of standing behind him. I've taken my hood down, and I'm just kind of giving like just this piercing like stare at them with these like aether-filled glowing eyes that I have. And then I just rolled the same. I rolled the command, so it was a -1. So overall, I rolled a 10.
Okay. Do you use intimidate as your like stat or what?
Yeah, I don't have any points in intimidate, so it doesn't add anything.
Okay. So add. Sorry, Foxy. You said Dre has a 2 in intimidate or a 3?
3, yeah.
Yeah. So add 3 to your roll also.
Okay, so then I'll put it at 13.
So yeah, 13 for him and an 18
Alright.
for me.
18. Yeah. So you guys sort of like stare him down. It's like, now we get to pick, and he sort of in this subtle way is like, wait, now, hold on. We can't agree to that entirely. We have a lot of documents that we might be looking for, schematics, things like that. How about any documents, anything written down, any records we get first, and any weapons, metals, or valuable materials such as like gems and such you may take first. And then we will negotiate from there. And he is going to roll, and he got a 16, which isn't really going to make it unless someone's going to help him up, and I'd like to know how you back him up with that. Yeah, okay. And so, yeah, it's subtlety, and he is using...
Negotiate, I assumed?
Yeah, he's using negotiate.
Okay. Can I... Well, I rolled, and I was planning on using deceive, but I can do negotiate if that makes more sense.
Oh, no, you don't have to use the same
Okay.
stat, you just have to use the same... I mean, you don't have to use the same skill, you just have to use the same stat. So it is subtlety, but...
Okay,
You can
so
use
I can
deceive.
use deceive. So with deceive, I got a 20 total.
Ooh. Yeah, so how do you back him up to that? I want to know.
By all means, the vault could be empty, and perhaps this isn't the true location of it. Without us, you couldn't find any of the goods there. We've brought this information to you. We should take first claim. We will leave the most valuable physical objects that can be used to you, anyways. It's the historical matters we care about.
Sounds
And the
good.
metals.
For now, I
Rebuttal.
guess.
Rebuttal.
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 Yeah.
I just rebuttal, and I just kind of
Yeah.
look.
Raise your
I
hand
look-
for...
Yeah, I just look him dead in the eyes, and I was like, "Sure, we may not be able to find the vault without you, but you will not be able to get there without our ship."
Metalman's got a point.
That's
We can
why
wait.
it's an equal cut.
I'll deal with that for now. Talk about it more when we see whatever's in there.
Yeah, and then Ozturk is helpfully, if there's nothing there, then we will definitely say use our expertise to help you find something worth scavenging, let's say.
Dre actually just like glances over the 4 of you and says, don't worry about it, Doc. If we don't find anything in the vault, I'm sure we'll find something worth compensating us with.
Say you don't want to be paid otherwise, then. Out of the vault is enough.
Let's
Well, I
just-
mean, Turk, even as he's saying that, is already moving like the upfront pay that the letter did promise, because he is just that kind of a dude that he doesn't even think about like the negotiation of this.
Yeah, Dre
If
swipes
someone
the
wants to
bag.
stop him from doing that, yeah,
Dre swipes
No.
the bag, looks at it, like sees the amount of wealth in it, and just like, yeah, don't worry about it. If we don't find anything in the vault, I'm sure y'all have something we can take if it's worth it.
Ozturk, you're an absolute fool sometimes.
I don't know,
Hey,
Doc. I think we'll get along swimmingly.
I'm sure we will.
Well then, let's cut the chatter.
As you're talking, though, I would like, actually, because Quinn, you are sort of looking around and you haven't been really participating in the conversation. I would like you to roll some kind of awareness skill to be like, probably notice, but I'll take insight.
Okay. Let's see. That's a 9 plus a 3 is a 12.
I really like this roll. So, this was actually a combative roll. You just didn't really know it until this moment, because this person rolled like an 11. So, you're sort of looking around, and out of like the window, you see a flash of a red coat and several people following that coat, and that makes you like a little like, what's going on? That seems familiar. And then the front door gets basically like kicked in as a captain that I think the three of you would recognize steps in. And what I would like is for mostly Foxy, but any of the crewmates to describe to me a pirate captain that you have a rivalry with, who takes jobs away from you at times.
I got you, easy. Because I already had one in mind. There's a captain. I don't give a fuck about his name. His name can be whatever you want. Something really posh and annoying though. And this guy does a lot of trade and privateer operations, but in particular, he sells a lot of. This is gonna get real dark here, so trigger warning for anyone that's sensitive here. He sells a lot of slaves. It's actually a lot of slave trading he does. He actually, this is a bit of a more personal note that most of y'all wouldn't know. He actually is the person that sold Dre to the former captain of the ship that's now the Lady Rachel. And so, yeah, we've run into him once or twice, and he doesn't like me very much for pretty obvious reasons. And so regularly tries to just, like, swipe jobs for him, from him.
Okay. I'm gonna make one small thing, is that, Dre, you don't think he likes you very much. Everyone around you can realize that he doesn't think highly of you, but like everything he's ever said to you, I had a name right here, Captain Ajax Fansant.
Oh god, yeah, that's pretty posh.
Yeah. And everything he said or done to you since you've become captain is like, oh, I recognize that you're free now, and that's fine, and I really hold no grudges. But he is kind of a smarmy asshole about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't ever stop bringing it up. And in fact, as he kicks the door in, he looks almost immediately at this table, like he knew you guys were going to be there. And he just says, "Ah, Captain Dre," in this large voice. And there's like 5 or 6 people behind him that are his crew. And he just starts striding towards you.
Great. If it's not Captain Dipshit and Misfits.
Like, oh, there's no need to be uncivil. I come here with good news.
Uncivil? I called
And
you captain.
He nods almost like warmly, like, fair. I do want to give anyone a chance while I'm monologuing, so you can like interrupt this man. It is possible. Anyways, it's like, but I have good news. Like I said, there's a job that I think you might like to take. And then you can see he like rests a hand on his hip where there is a quite fancy gun. It's like a one of the earlier clip-fed guns that you would have seen out of character in like the Germans would have in like World War II, sort of a deal of like handguns. Hand on his hip, and he says, "A job involving your friends here, even," and gestures to the 4 of these professors.
It's weird, we just got hired, but you want to get fancy in here? It's a pretty girl singing. Wouldn't want to ruin the show.
He doesn't really respond to that immediately. He actually looks at the 4 academics like, Are you curious as to what the job is?
Sounds like we found some of our, let's say, followers.
Mm-hmm.
Ozturk is going to turn around and actually ask, because he is a clueless, lovable idiot, despite being a professor. But you can stop him. Like, again, he's just gonna sort of look.
Quinn just puts a hand on like Ozturk,
Thank you,
and
Quinn.
then he gets up, and like Quinn is like 6'3",
That's my muscle.
so he's tall, and just like pushes the whole chair behind him with Ozturk in it.
Oh, yeah, real quick, did any of you get a drink?
I don't think the four
I don't think we
academics
have-
would have had time.
We
just sat
haven't had the
down.
time.
All right,
As
cool.
a machine,
We can
I
have
don't
time.
drink.
All right,
so-
cool. Well, then Dre already has one that he was working on. He just gonna, again, as Quinn gets up behind him, downs it, tosses the cup somewhere.
It's like turns to look over at Oliver actually, and is like, friends of your marbles.
Don't call me Marbles.
I'm
And
gonna call you something. Call you Marble. Sorry.
no. Ozturk, let's just don't say anything. You'll just make things worse.
Ajax is watching all this and is quite amused. Several of his, like, I guess, backup crew are now sitting at the bar, but like facing away from it, looking at you guys, putting on like the face of not technically going to fight. And Ajax is like, oh, don't be like that. It's quite entertaining, actually. I got a strange missive from an anonymous benefactor, and I normally don't entertain those, but it came with quite a hefty sum of coins and a promise of more for the damnedest thing. They want me to pay our good captain here, Dre, to not take the job.
You know, been paid for a lot of things. Never been paid to not take a job, though.
I'm just gonna kind of like tap Dre on the shoulder as I see he's kind of considering the entire scenario. And as he looks at me, I'm just gonna like kind of hold my journal up and tap on it, like, "Hey, if we take this job, I can find more journals."
It's like a thing that you want, yeah.
And looks over just, sorry, kid. We got invested parties. And like I said, we just got hired. So, can't really just renege on a job like that. Pirates code and all. You get it, right?
There is still like that sort of asshole smile. It's like, yeah, I figured it would be that, and so did they. You see, I get to take your pay if I simply convince you not to. And his hand flexes. He hasn't drawn the gun. It's still flexed on it.
Yeah,
And
no,
just,
again, same.
he's rolling to intimidate you.
Alright, bitch, I'll intimidate you right the back. Fight the fuck back. Who the fuck you think you are? Who the fuck you talking to, ho?
How close are they to the door?
They're actually pretty far into the bar. Like, your table is probably pretty close to the stage at the very back of this bar. And like I said, it's sizable. I'd say 10 feet. You're definitely, like, the door is a zone away for those at the stream.
Gotcha.
I'm not using feet, I'm really using zones. And you can interact with anything in your zone, and you have abilities that can do to one zone or 2 or 3 away. So it's like the door is 1 zone away, but they're pretty close to you. Maybe like out of melee range, but
And
in
how
zone.
high is the ceiling?
and not quite 10 feet. This is kind of a squat building. It's probably like a little shorter than most of you are comfortable with. Quinn, you're not going to hit your head, but like you might on like a hanging light or something if you're not careful.
Quinn pockets some of the, or at least palms the utensils on the table.
Yeah, Dre's
Alright.
just hand on his hip towards there's 3 flintlocks on his hip. One is like, 2 of them just kind of look pretty simplistic and basic metal, but one's kind of like a shining, almost like glinted gold around the handle area. He's got his hand towards that one and just like looking back at you, just like, convince me how, huh? Again, pretty girl playing, real nice. Wouldn't want to ruin the atmosphere.
Yeah, he got a 20 on the intimidate, by the way,
All right,
but
well, what's
there's
that
no one
gonna use?
backing him up. Like, he's gonna make you use subtle. No, he's gonna make you use command. This is
Alright,
straight
cool.
up just I'm calling you out.
All right, well then I'm basically rolling the same thing I rolled last time. Bitch, get triple 6. Get the fuck out of my face. Who the fuck are you?
It's a defensive roll too, so you can spend points and be like, the fuck you don't.
I don't even. Do I need to?
Like,
Because 3 6s is
You've already
18 plus my 4. That's 22.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd like some so yeah, you just like pretty girl don't want to mess this up. As you say that, I'm gonna say you let that carry a little bit, and you see the guy, like the bartender, has noticed this like fight is about to break out, and he has very gently taken a trench gun and just laid it on the countertop, and he's looking at Ajax, not you, and he's like, I don't like having to fix holes in my bar.
And I'm sure old dipshit doesn't want to fix holes in his coat. So again, walk out.
You see him sort of look around, and that smile doesn't fade, because this is a man who looks into the face of danger pretty consistently. But he does sort of... Yeah. I figured that might happen here too. He looks to his, 6 backup guys. Several of them have already gotten drinks, and he goes, finish those now. We're leaving. They, scramble to down drinks very quickly that they've paid for. One of them, the bartender has already grabbed his cup because he's not happy with them before he's finished. He's like, no.
You don't even get one. Fuck you.
He got several sips in. The bartender doesn't look pleased that this happened in his bar. He also doesn't look happy with you guys, but at least he understands who started it.
Exactly.
They sort of scramble out, and they leave before Ajax, who just confidently in his long red coat, he's got long blonde hair tied back, captain's hat. He's the most just classic looking asshole pirate captain you can possibly imagine. And so his long coat billows behind him as he exits, and he's looks back. He's like, you guys take care of yourselves.
Hey, Jaxie. You take care of that wife of yours, alright?
There's a small, twinge, and I want you to describe to me why that's such a good insult really quickly.
Oh, because every time we've encountered a ship, I ignore everything he says, look at his wife, and keep flirting with her. And she blushes sometimes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he, little bit of a twinge, and he leaves the bar. Let you guys explore the space for a bit if you want.
Dre's gonna immediately, let go of, move his hand from his coat, walk away from the table, and walk over to the sort of performance area, hand the girl singing a few coins, just apologize for the disturbance, man.
Yeah, she, winks at you. The set has finished. In fact, you've seen that maybe they cut off an extra verse or two to, not be playing as this was going on, possibly. But she does wink at you. She's a professional singer and kind of a flirter and such, you assume. I think you've probably been here before, and she's performed here before, but... they're packing stuff up. It seems like that was the end of their whole set as well.
Yeah, you're just, gonna turn, just I'll see you around sometime, I hope.
She says, oh, we'll see. Danger seems to roll into this town quite often, so I'm sure you'll be back.
Yeah, he's not gonna say anything, because he's lost. That's it, he's in love. That's it, he's sold.
That's the extent of his flirting.
That's it,
All right,
he's sold. He's just oh boy.
Frat! Get your head out of the clouds.
Nah, you don't get it, Quinn. That's the one.
What's the,
Is he always like this?
Captain, that's what you said about the person at the last tavern.
Who?
Oh, he's always
Yeah.
like this.
The lady at the last tavern. You said she was the one.
What was her name again?
I don't know, Deborah?
Right! Deborah. She was a fireball. I like that one. But, love burns hot and burns quick. This one, though. Nah, she's the one. I know. One of these days I'm gonna come back here and marry her. I know that for a fact.
Do you
this
know,
happens every
Captain?
time, marbles.
I know.
Because earlier, Captain, you also mentioned that you weren't a man. So,
Listen, alright, metal man? Unless you want me to fuck some of those gears up. You watch your mouth, alright?
oh, you want to go? And Reese kind of pulls out his hands out of his pockets, and on his fists he's got brass knuckles that just say Reese with a smiley face on them.
Alright, play with me if you want to, pretty boy. I ain't afraid to dance in here!
Take it outside.
Why did we hire these guys? Ozturk.
You've told Ozturk not to say anything, and he's like, because I think you didn't want me to talk, but because they're the only people we can hire. Everyone else has been, it seems, paid off to not.
Right.
You sure we couldn't have talked to him a bit? I would like to know who paid him.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not sure he was being entirely honest.
Whoever it was, they're probably your follow. We'll see old Ajax again. In fact, he might just be your follow. You want me to put some holes in him, boss? I'll do it for the right fee.
Definitely Ozturk seems a little, like, nervous about that. He's like,
Not
it'd be great
every
if we
problem can be solved with a bullet.
You'd be surprised how many can.
This one, not so much.
Alright, beanie suits with me. Quinn's just gonna like
Accept
go,
this.
is gonna go out the door and
That's
just
what Arden says. I accept this.
Arden's like, yeah, okay. But whose suits? Like, Quinn definitely... Or sorry, Ozturk definitely looks around and is like, suits?
Ozturk, you're not coming with us. we talked about this. Ozturk,
But
please.
But it's my life's work to... He looks kind of dejected. If you want to convince him not to come, he definitely can.
Can I interject?
He definitely
here?
can.
It
Go
would
for it.
probably be safer if Ozturk did stay with us.
Yeah, he's a fool, an honest fool, but fool. I do agree with that.
Have 3 PhDs.
Ozturk.
as long as the prof keeps his mouth shut.
Oh, it's an
not gonna
escort
save
job
you where we're
too?
going.
Fine, that increases your fee.
Ozturk, as you stick with us, I'm going to teach you about something some of us have called street smarts, and not necessarily book smarts.
He goes... He, like, you can see it in his face. He wants to say, do you have a book on that? But you've just said it's not book smarts. And he's like, but I want...
You're welcome to the man-child, Tin Man. I already got 2 brats to take care of.
Hey, it's Captain out here. Watch your mouth.
But Ozturk is gonna go along with this, at least being, like, led along. He's like, well, I did bring you 3 along for your extensive field experience, and this is the field, as it were. I would request, though, that we do as Reese says. I'm worried that without some help around, I might not be able to repel the next confrontation.
Okay, I was just worried, you know. I've known you for so long, and you're not great in outside of the university.
It's cleaner there and less guns.
Yes.
Also more public.
To be fair, fancy suits over here doesn't look all that great either.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
Ozturk is still confused. Which one's fancy suits?
Oh, dear. Well,
Quinn is
listen,
giving like a
folks.
pointedly, like, kind of suspicious look over at Maxwell, since he remembers like kind of being a little suspicious of him the first time they met, but like they weren't able to read it very well. So
It's very like, what did I do?
Don't look at me. Yeah. Yeah. You guys can sort of stick around in the bar for a minute if you like. Maxwell, or sorry, yeah. I keep on mixing characters. Ozturk is like, well, as a show of good faith for the help, I would be willing to pay for drinks if you guys want to like enjoy the space, but we can move on if you'd like.
We'll get a bottle to go. My future wife's leaving, and so are we.
Also, I don't think the barkeep wants us to stay much longer.
Also that.
Yeah, you look. He has put the gun away, but pointedly not underneath it. It's like leaning against the bar now. It's like not as accessible. Like, definitely looking at you guys, and Ozturk's like, very well. Good, sir. And he like goes and buys a bottle. You notice that he pays twice as much for it as he needs to.
Listen, his money now.
I'm gonna walk over to the barkeep and leave a coin and also 2 bullets and say, sorry for the trouble. Use these in case of an emergency.
You just have like bullets you've made specially.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think you did notice it's a pretty like standard looking trench gun. Like, you assume that it's gonna fit whatever you like give to him at this point, but you know, he's still like hand down, grabs the coins and the bullets away from you. Puts
It'll
underneath the bottom
push.
of the line.
It'll push unwanted customers out the door, shall we say?
Dale gives you a look. He's like, fine, get out. And yeah, you guys leave, and as I described to Lady Rachel before as just sails and not like a sort of air bladder that goes with zeppelins, the four academics of you, Osterk and the three of you, are not familiar with it looking that way, and so in fact it probably takes you a second to be like, wait, that's it? It also has a different name painted on the side. When you saw the ship first, it was called the Royal Sunrise. It's definitely the same ship, but it's just been modified heavily.
Yep, there she is. That's the only woman
Your
you'll see
one
around me
true
long term
love,
and won't
huh,
be carrying
Brett?
my kids.
That looks different from last time.
Yeah, she's had a
Interesting
few
rebrand.
touch-ups.
You saying you wouldn't take your kids on your boat?
This is gonna be a nightmare job, isn't it?
Yep, it sure is. For you and me both.
What would you know about it?
I gotta deal with you.
And what's the problem with dealing with me?
As this conversation is happening, as you get to the ship, you hear a voice that for all of you is familiar, just far more familiar for the three shipmates, of a woman berating someone, it seems like. You hear from it's like, Cantoni, I cannot believe you thought that you would buy fresh fruit on an island without forests or farms. I don't, and this sort of heavily accented, what we would call Italian, I guess, sounding voice is, ma'am, they said it was fresh. It seemed fresh, it tasted fresh. And she's like, you don't know what fresh apples taste like if you think these are. It seems fine. There's an argument that happens quite often as the first mate, Abani Cantoni, is a man who is very good on a ship and knows everything that you've ever needed to know about a ship, and has actually treated Captain Dre, as he became captain, quite nice, considering. But should not be the one who goes and gets supplies. Just should.
Yeah.
The man has literally no taste buds, it seems. You assume it's from overcooking coffee and burning all his taste buds off.
Sounds about right. We're just
I guess I need to go handle that, huh?
Yeah, Quinn, you go get on that. Make sure nothing gets broken or no one's feelings get hurt.
Quinn goes and just picks up Prof Ozturk and like by
Yep.
the collar and goes to hop onto the ship.
He's like, I'm not going to fall off the plank or whatever you call these, not stairs, as he gets put.
Michelle, what is it with your characters and picking people up? Like, what? Why is that a thing you just
You
keep
should know,
doing?
anytime she's played a very strong character, that is a thing her character does constantly.
Lift things up and put them down.
Usually.
Fuck!
But yeah, like I feel like
I'm not
Quinn just
sorry.
like walks over to the conversation while like Prof Ozturk is still dangling from his hand.
Oh dear.
Opturk is not a big guy, so he definitely is dangling a bit. I think his feet are mostly still on the ground, but he definitely is like sort of up this way. He's like, I don't. But yeah, you guys are free to explore the space for a bit if you'd like.
Yeah, Dre
As
just,
you get onto the Lady Rachel.
yeah, Dre just hops on the ship, immediately heads for the prow, takes a big stretch, just really happy to be back on his girl after a while. Just looks around, maybe yells at some of the crew a little bit, makes himself nice and comfortable. Just, alright, let's not waste any time. Get that anchor up, ballast set, make sure our sails are getting positions. There's a good wind right now, we want to get out when we can.
The crew does as you command. They're now pretty used to you being in charge, and you've gotten better at directing people over the last 8 months since
Hell
you've
yeah.
become captain. There's no more like muttering or side eye, but there's, definitely not a lot of warmth there.
Found it.
Ozturk does sort of mention around, it's like, where will our quarters be, if I might ask?
Find a
He's like
bed and lay in
dangling.
it.
Excuse?
Find a bed, lay in it.
He goes, and I think you'll have noticed is that any of you academics probably have bags with you. You can have like had someone carry them for you, I guess, if you wanted to spend some of the extra money. But I don't imagine you guys have a lot. I don't know, and so those are being like brought onto the ship. But Ozturk definitely has what seems like quite a lot of just books, and I think you guys know that he didn't pack a lot except that.
I'm actually gonna be annoying here, and as like Dre looks and sees other crewmen like carrying over the other professionals' bags, he just walks over. It's like, the fuck is that? Cut this shit out. We'll look over at you four and just, you're on Lady Rachel now. Everyone carries their own weight.
Well, I'm just saying Ostrich is the only one that's paid someone. These other three could.
Yeah, no,
Definitely
fuck that. He's very much stopping that. Nope. Everyone carries their own weight.
Well, then I'll need to be put down.
That's a good point. Quinn?
Plunk. Plunk.
He's going to struggle to bring 2 bags just absolutely full of books onto the ship.
He'd be aight.
I'm gonna help him and just Ozturk, why? I told you to. The books.
This is
Why so
this
many
is
books?
The bare minimum. This is a bare minimum of research materials I will need.
Just memorize them, or write them smaller.
Are there not field guides for some of these things?
They haven't been
These
invented
are
yet.
field guides.
As Arden takes up a
They haven't
bag
invented
too.
field
Yeah,
guides
he
yet.
would know that he has absolutely condensed quite a lot of stuff into field guides, but he's also the kind of person who over-prepares. There's like a field guide on cleaning fish in like a very academic sense, and a field guide on like the various kinds of like fungus that might grow on a wandering island and which ones are good to eat and not. And you know that he's probably grabbed some that you guys will actually use if you want to, but it's more like he didn't ask you if you needed them. He just brought a bunch.
I pick up a stack of books and I go, Ozturk, why do you don't need a guide on how to set up a camp. That's what we hired these people for. And I just throw it overboard.
He's like, like, well,
Yeet.
this was a
You fucking
copy
yeet.
and not
Friend,
a
friend,
first edition.
This shit empty.
friend, we've been over this. We need to pack light. We have a lot of traveling to do.
I suppose. So yeah, that's his luggage. I'd be interested as to what the 3 of you bring.
I think
I will
Maxwell
balance
kind of
it.
just. Yeah, I'll go again. I think Maxwell just kind of has like a big like trunk suitcase kind of thing that he can kind of carry with like one arm, but like very sizable, kind of like the old leather beat up kind of thing with like straps and clamps on it. And he's just carrying that, and I think he might. He probably doesn't have a backpack. He does.
Yeah, I think
I
a
have a question
backpack
because we didn't. Oh no, you can finish.
Okay, I think a backpack is more of like probably what Arden would carry. A lot more like an actual like backpacking, like going out in the field for extended periods of time, kind of thing. That you know, they look small but hold a deceptive amount of things. So yeah, they're probably just tucking that up there, taking a bag or 2 of books if they can. That Ozturk brought on.
Yeah, and Oliver's got a backpack on that just has like sort of traveling stuff, and then he also has a pretty big briefcase. And not that you guys would know this, but actually only half the stuff in the briefcase is his, or like 2/3. He's actually saved space because he knows Ozturk is an absolute fool, and he's packed like some stuff for
Clothes.
Ozturk. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
You're right. Yep. And then I guess as the last question is like, what's the kind of like gear, like 1 or 2 items that you always carry on you at all times? I think all 3 of you could have something, although I know Surak, your character, Arden might not need like a weapon or something, so it's up to you if they even carry extra gear on them or not.
The only thing that like I don't even know if I would necessarily call this like extra gear, but possibly like something very akin to a multi-tool. Would
Okay.
be pretty handy, which could include a knife. It's not the most
Yeah, but that's
effective
not a
at fighting
weapon.
people. It's not a weapon,
Uh-huh.
but I mean it could. It's a glorified letter opener, but it could.
Yeah, I think it would also be important to note that, yeah, Arden doesn't have like skills in any weapon, so like, don't know what you roll for that, but I like that as like it's a multi-tool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Oliver's got on his belt a pouch on either side. You can tell that the one on the left is a more like formed leather pouch that's sort of split into categories and like organized more properly, and then the one on the right looks a lot more like just a coin purse kind of. But yeah.
What's in the one on the right, if I may ask?
So it's more just like the one on the left is for prepared materials, and the one on the right is for more just like general use marbles.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do, this isn't in this moment, but more of like a past thing. Roll me some kind of awareness notice or awareness insight.
Oh, sure. Here, so 3d6
Triple D6.
plus awareness and insight. 16.
16. Yeah, I think at one point you caught someone trying to pickpocket that pouch that looks like a coin purse, and you caught them, but they also did have a marble in their hand, and they looked very disappointed, like this kid just somewhere. They're like, "That's not what I wanted," and they just like, "You could have it." It's like just a thing that has happened for sure.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Anyways, but yeah, that's sort of the scene as you guys bring all this in. I think you just find like there is a bunch of bunks down in the just center of the ship, more towards like the aft, also where the aft sort of back behind where the captain, like the helm is also where this mounted harpoon gun is. But otherwise, it has 2 rows of cannons. It's got a pretty decent amount of storage space, pretty good. If altogether, like crew quarters, it's fairly clean. There is a very small brig. I get the sense, and Dre, you can say otherwise, but that Dre would not really keep captives very often if he needs to. If someone disobeys the rules, they're very lucky if they make it back to an island.
Yeah, the very bottom of the ship, like its lowest possible deck, it's been like a lot of it's been like remodified and like storage space stuff, but like towards the back of it, it's still kind of disheveled and like not fully repaired. But there are 2 compartments that are like noticeable. The first on the left is the larger one. It's like a brig. The other one looks like at some point it was made to house, well, a person or 2, maybe even more than 2 people, but it wouldn't comfortably sleep more than 1 or 2 people. But it's just like an empty sleeping space with nothing in there.
But yeah, so that's kind of what's on the ship, and then there's definitely the engine room at the very center, and it's actually tied to like the main mast, and that's where I assume Reese sort of has all his stuff set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing you guys would notice, I guess, like as we start to like settle in, is that like despite like the fact there is like a very clear captain's quarters where you like would probably assume Dre would spend most of his time, and he might spend a lot of time in there. Like, you know, later in the day as it comes like, you know, time everyone's settling in, you notice that like a lot of his like sleeping stuff, like his personal like, you know, like clothing and stuff, a lot of that's kept just like on like a random bed in the with the rest of the crew. Like he doesn't sleep in the captain's quarters.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing that you guys notice probably in the afternoon as the ship has set sail and you leave this small island behind. And that's the scene I'd like to sort of go to break on, if you guys are ready for that.
Perfect for me.
Well,
Awesome.
Thank you, chat, for being at the start of this campaign. We're going to see how this goes. I'm really liking some of this so far, so we'll be back in like 10 minutes.
About 10 or so. Bye-bye.
Hey, how's all you doing? All's you.
All's you. All's you.
Uh-oh.
How you doing, Twitch? This is the Violet Sea. We are back from break, and yeah, having a good time. Don't know about you guys.
I'm having a great time, honestly.
Yeah. Welcome to the
All
chat
right.
room.
Hey, oh man, no, you don't understand how many times that it's told me that. It's still doing it.
Listen,
I
you
can't
gotta-
get it to stop.
Because you keep ignoring the chat room, Tate. Because they're gonna let you know. Hey, listen, the chat room's over here.
Hey, listen.
Stop.
It's just getting me.
Cease and desist.
It's just getting me every time. I can't. Anyways, so when we last left our party, you guys were leaving this one small island, barely has a name, and heading off into the titular Violet Sea. What I would like to know, as some details, it's getting later into the afternoon. For the 3 academics, you've sort of found places to put your stuff. but you don't really have like a thing to do while you're on the ship. So what are you doing while you're on the ship? Like, what are you spending maybe some of your early time with at this point?
Probably brushing back up on some of my field guides, just because, for some of these, like, I probably haven't looked at in a good bit, because it hasn't been, like, as necessary, because this part of the field is very different from where I've been. So yeah, probably just doing that, making sure there haven't been updates with the more recent editions that I've probably gotten before this trip. Yeah, just making sure everything's in order.
Okay.
If Ozturk is still around, I've probably have just sat down with him and gone, okay, Ozturk, let's look through these stacks of books and decide what you actually need and what we can leave behind, because this is ridiculous. And also, here are the clothes that you need.
Because you didn't pack them and you put them in your suitcase.
Yeah.
That extra case.
Although, as you've been doing that, I would guess owner of the ship would be your proper title now. Deepali is sort of like sits down with you, and as you talk about books that he needs or doesn't need, what is your plan for like the ones he doesn't need? Because you're not on like an island anymore. Are you just gonna huck him off the side?
Books are valuable. We could sell those.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to know. What at least what Oliver's plan was with that, because I think Deepali would probably, as you like go through them, be like, "Oh well, I'll take that. I have my own small personal library."
Yeah,
the ones you say you don't need.
Yeah, that's like I'm getting rid of them one way or another.
Yeah. You don't need this. But I just... And in fact, I think that you, Oliver, probably can tell that this is a bit of a game for her. Like, she's having fun debating, like talking to you and being like, "Hey, no, I think this book is very valuable," and almost like just for fun, getting on Ozturk's side of like, "I can understand why you brought this." But in this like very authoritative way of like, "No, I own this ship. We can keep this on here. Stop that." It's definitely having some fun with you. You can decide how you feel about that.
All right. For now, I'm just focused on Ozturk for the most part. Just Ozturk, my guy.
My dude, please.
My dude, why? Last week, what's Maxwell doing?
Yeah, I think Maxwell will probably take a little bit of time to just kind of walk around the ship, see where people are. If he can, also, he would probably take some time to talk to Bhavani Deepali as well, if he can find her free and kind of in like a maybe like an open area, but perhaps farther away from main crew people, not to be opened or anything.
Then I guess that just asks the question for Oliver. Where would you have set these books out? Are you in crew quarters, or are you like near the captain's quarters, or like where do you set all these books out to decide which ones you keep? Because that'll decide where she is. Oliver?
Oh, sorry. What'd you say? I just like mind blank.
No, it's totally fine. Like just where are you set up? Because that's gonna depend where Mrs. Molly is.
I think I'm still just in the crew quarters, just like pile of books on one side, suitcase next to it.
Yeah, I think you assumed that Miss Bhavani, or Mrs. still? I don't really know how that works. Anyways, she just sort of followed you guys in and sort of like watched you set up your stuff and is just amused by this number of books.
Yeah, I think since probably most of the crew is up manning the ship, I think kind of Maxwell will kind of go over and go, "Oh, Bhavani, nice to see you again. I suppose we have a little bit more civil members of the crew here to discuss things with now."
She does smile. It's like, they were always civil. We were just a bit stressed last time. If you remember, our ship was on fire.
I was less referring to last time and more referring to earlier today, but that's quite all right.
Oh yes, I heard you had some troubles with a rival of ours.
A little bit, but none that matter. How's your ship fared these last 8 months? Seems like you've gone under some serious changes.
And yeah, you guys actually are like the level of the crew quarters is like the fore of the ship. The center of the ship is where like the engine room is, and the aft at this level is where the kitchens are. So you can kind of just like look out the crew quarters to this now sort of engine room that originally was just for like pumping aether around. Now has a lot of like wiring and one central like glass thing that is a bit I'd say it's glowing most of the time. And yeah, Reese, you know that you can, if you like spend the time, literally pull in just a bunch of aether from the air. It takes like many turns or like actions, but you can just pull it from the air and transmit it directly into this glass sphere, and that's what you just do every once in a while. I imagine it like you can tell me how that looks, but yeah, you can like look in and see all these adjustments, and yeah, Bhavani sort of smiles. It's like, yeah.
If they look into like the engine room, like look into my room.
Or no, just the engine, where all the engine parts are. I don't know where your room is relative to that. But...
I mean, my room would probably be the engine room, so.
Yeah, well, that's just like sort of an area people walk through all the time, so I don't know.
I mean, I don't really sleep anyway. I'm an autonomous, you know, so I'm just always kind of tinkering with things to try and make the ship fly better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Bonnie just also again smiles at that. It's like it has changed quite a bit, but it is a faster ship and a better ship, and there's almost like a little forlorn note. She's like, and probably a more just ship.
That's good to know. You know, I do take history recordings on this. You wouldn't mind sharing some of your exploits of where you've been? This sort of information is incredibly useful in the future for historians to know what ships are doing and what it's like.
Definitely roll some convincing there. I'm not sure what stat you want to do.
Flatter sounds about right. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, that's a really good roll. A 15 flat, and I have a +4 for 19 total.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and this was not like she was especially suspicious of you, so this is not a contested roll. This is just a pretty simple line. With that, she's like, well, if it's valuable for you and your research, I could spend some time. I think she has a small stack of books that she's like going to put in her personal library that Ozturk has been convinced that he doesn't need.
I think, yeah, Max will like kind of grab it. I can help you carry these up to your quarters if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can perhaps hail me on the way.
Yeah. Oliver, Max, Ozturk is like, see, they think that those were good books to bring.
That's because they can't get rid of them anymore.
I think that a comprehensive guide for knot tying on a ship is a very good... This is the argument, is you get to walk away.
Ozturk, you're not tying any knots! They're doing all the knot tying.
What if they've injured their hands?
Ozturk, if they've injured their hands, we have bigger problems.
Yeah, all of them? Anyways, that's the argument that's happening as you leave. And yeah, you follow her back to the captain's quarters. I guess this is a question for Dre. Dre doesn't like stay in these quarters ever, right?
Well, no,
there's still like a map.
Oh no, he spends a good amount of time in the captain's quarters as far as like, you know, like planning and like thinking there. Like, you know, like he uses the desk and everything there, but like he doesn't like there's not like a bed in there that he sleeps in. He doesn't sleep there.
Mm-hmm. So what changes would you have made to it?
Mostly
I'm gonna
just
give you some space to describe.
mostly just opening the space up a lot more, you know, without the need for like sleeping space in there. You just open a lot of the desk space, taking out some of the shelves because a lot of them had like books and things that he doesn't read, he can't, so he took a lot of those out.
Yeah.
On the ones he didn't take out, he put like, you know, some trophies, some things he's taken over the years, over the months that he's liked a lot. The most important thing that he's done is as he does sketch a fair bit. There's plenty of sketches, a couple of sketches up on the up on the walls. They're all of women.
So yeah, I'd say like half of the captain's quarters have been changed to that. Although yeah, because there's at least one less bed, and it turns out Bhavani, you can see, has like a sort of separate like alcove where her bed is. It's actually behind the bookshelves on her side, but it is very much obvious to anyone who walks in. There's now like basically two people equally splitting this space, I think, is the compromise that came up. So yeah, some of the shelves are off on like, I'm gonna say the right side of the ship, facing the front. I cannot remember starboard and which one that is, but
left the port. Port's the left side of the ship.
so yeah, port side has all of Dre's like modifications. Starboard actually has more shelves now, and there is some space, and that's where she sort of directs you. And there is like a desk in the back that she still uses for like a lot of the official paperwork and like calculating who gets paid what and stuff like that. And like a very big table with maps and things in the center front of it, where you have to walk around and you can see there's like, this is a very complicated map table where it has the world and there's these little grooves in it, and basically like little stones of various colors representing various islands that as you turn a dial based on the time of year, those stones move in their rotations to represent these islands that move constantly. There's actually like a lot of navigational math that goes into this that I think Bhavani is especially good at. Although I would say that Dre is not a slouch at it either, but that's sort of where she walks past and puts the books up, and then she gestures to an extra chair, and she sits down on the back of her desk, and it's like, so, what did you want to ask? And if you want to play this out, we can, or you can just sort of ask general questions.
Yeah,
you can move.
At the very least, when he enters in, he's gonna note and say out loud, like, "This is quite a eclectic captain's quarters. I haven't seen anything like this. The map's exquisite. Certainly taste in art as well."
Yes, our new captain isn't half bad. He definitely has and she sort of sly chuckle, a limited subject matter, I would say, but he's getting better.
They are very detailed, at least. Yeah, and then I think kind of with that, he'll kind of sit down and just, yeah, he just wants to know what the ship's been up to, basically, but he'll try and ask it in ways that are a little bit more like, oh, like what kind of adventures or exploits have been on.
Yeah, I would say roll the same, some kind of convince thing, but this is just more the amount of detail you get while being subtle, I would say, is probably it, but you can also still flirt. Or flatter, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was going, who's flirting? What did I miss?
He's flattering your wife.
Yeah.
Or your ship wife.
I rolled really well, but I'm trying to decide I should have decided what skill before I rolled. I figured I was just gonna go with flatter again, because it's just kind of the same. And it's not so much, I don't think it's as much flirty as much as being like, you guys must have had great adventures and that kind of stuff. He's trying to pull information. I rolled naturally a 16 with another +4, 20.
Wow, damn. Anyways, yep, bathrobe. Anyways, yeah, you get quite a lot of detail. You think more than Bhavani meant to. The last time you met her, she does do a certain amount of magic, and it's almost like a glamour that she has on her almost all the time that just makes people like her more and also like listen to her more. Like mechanics-wise, it's just a small buff to all the command and social stats that she's using with subtlety. But been paid for. Wow, that background doesn't like the fox ears. It's like giving you
really
a halo of background.
Anyways, I kind of like it. Now I'm like an angel, you know?
Yeah, sure. It makes it look like less obviously fox ears. Anyways, yeah, you get quite a bit of detail. And I guess now that Foxy's back, what has the ship been doing for the last 8 months?
Well, largely, the first month or so that the Lady Rachel was after it switched captaincy, it mostly was just traveling a lot. getting a sense of the seas, or I guess the skies and such things, figuring them out. Its first few notable operations were honestly just a lot of off the books, let's say gathering operations. Privateering might even be the better term. Encountering some good loot. We got lucky in that we found a few ships that were the ships that we logged. I'd say like as Purple, I gotta know ships, or Max, I gotta know ships. You'd know that some of the few ships we logged were definitely slave ships, but none of our early cargo includes any slaves or any human cargo. But a lot of other things, some rare trade goods and other luxuries like that. A shipment of tobacco that we took on and things. Now it appears in the books. It never appears like it was sold anywhere. So things like that. After that, we took on a couple of on the books missions, mostly like convoy escorts and simple stuff like that to get our reputation up. And then from there, a lot of more on and off the books privateering. A couple small things like this company here wanted this ship's convoys raided, or this group here wanted this person stuck up for some money. Simple stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, that's sort of what I think that Devani describes it in a very sort of like clinical sense as the sort of quartermaster and owner of the ship. But there's a certain amount of adventure in it, since you are asking for like, oh, it sounds so interesting. She maybe gives some details of some of the more exciting events.
I'm guessing based off of the other comment that she thinks it's more just too, and based off of the way Foxy's describing it, probably I'm told of stories of freeing the slaves off of those ships, basically.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and that might not be what's on the books, but her relaying it to me as a person would probably relay that that's what's happening.
Yeah. Every time we encounter, anytime we encounter slaves, we always offer them the simple choice: you can come serve with us, or you're free to go wherever you want.
Also, she is sort of a very, I'd say, subtle person. So it is the implication that you get. Because you did say this is for like history, and she's like, I'm not going to say we've been committing crimes, but like we've been committing.
We've been doing crimes. We out here doing bad shit.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, so it is a little bit more subtle then. Okay, he picks up on it, and
Oh yeah, I mean she's trying to convey it to you. She's not hiding it. That's her nature. But anyways, that's sort of what you end up doing sort of in the afternoon. I want to say Arden. As you're sort of looking through some of your new field guides, are you doing that in the crew quarters, or are you like out in the sun? Where are you at?
Probably in the crew quarters, just like reading, like while kind of like listening in the background, like the argument between keeping books and not keeping books, and occasionally just looking over and smiling back into my book.
Yeah. What I would like to do then, because you're kind of all inside, I think that none of you end up really noticing until one of you sort of looks out one of these windows that's in the ship. Because as an airship, there's a lot more than there would normally be. So I'd like all three of you separately to roll a something like a notice awareness, but I'll take an insight maybe.
Okay.
And do.
Let's see, what do I? Yeah, horrible.
Did that just roll?
I got a 15.
Oh, my insight's actually better. Never mind, we're gonna do that.
Did it roll?
What?
Either way. That's on
nah.
19.
I got 15.
Okay. I didn't hear Purple. Did you get a 16 or 15? Something like that? 15, all right. Yeah, so I think those of you who got a 15, it's like you almost don't notice until like the light hits your eyes from a window and you're like, that's bright. And then you're like, wait, hold on. That's not the direction light should be going, because you all assumed you were heading directly east. I think, Arden, because you are both a tracker and also because you have a better sense for this sort of thing than the rest of the academics, you very quickly realize that there's probably a reason for this. But Arden,
being like a ship historian, maybe.
No, this is sort of outside baseball for ship stuff. Yeah, Oliver, I think that you would more than not just notice based on like it doesn't take an accident for you to notice. You sort of notice midway through this conversation. Yeah, you guys are heading south.
Huh.
And, the island is going to be up in the east. Do you say anything?
I look up and I go, we're headed a weird way.
Ozturk has been buried in his books. I think he has set the clothes that you have brought for him aside, and he's like folded them up all nice on his bunk, and he's like, oh, yes, this is acceptable. The books. Anyways, he looks up from what he's reading and just, what, a weird way? What do you mean?
We're not headed east, we're headed south.
He like closes the book with a snap. He's like, that's not correct. We should go talk to the captain. He's gonna get up and try and find Dre. But he does like leave to the engine room, and I assume whoever's in the engine room in the kitchen can intercept him if you would like.
Am I already back with them for this moment, or am I still talking to Bhavani probably?
I think you're still talking to Bhavani, so you're actually like
I'm probably asking her
level up.
about it and probably getting it explained to me, but I just wanted.
It's a less interesting scene. We'll get to that.
No, we can totally cut that. I just wanted to make it known that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna pass through the engine room, where I also have kind of set up base, I've got my pipe organ all set up in there. As they're passing through, they if they notice, they can see that I've got like wires running from the pipe organ to like my arm, and I'm pressing different notes and trying to figure out why some of these notes are off. And as they come running through, I grab the doctor and I'm like, listen to this. It doesn't make sense. And I start pressing the notes and I'm like, I cannot figure out why this one sounds like this, but this one doesn't sound like this.
And is like, it's still making sound, it's just that you're like attached to it, right? Or is it not making sound?
No, so they can't hear it because I'm attached to it, and so I can hear it.
That's what I was wondering. I'm gonna say you probably catch Ozturk unless you specifically wanted Oliver.
No, I grab Ozturk because he's coming through.
Yeah, I mean both of them are, I think.
Yeah.
But Ozturk's like, good sir, I don't have a degree in music, and I don't hear anything actually. Why are we heading south?
I don't know. You have to ask the captain. I'm more worried about this right now.
Interesting. You can see Ozturk is a man who likes a good puzzle, but he is sort of. No, I can come back and listen to that when I can hear it.
We'll be back. We'll be back for that
captain?
because I am interested.
All right. I mean, I think this is a lot more interesting than going to bother the captain, but you do what you got to do.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's definitely a conversation that I'm assuming Quinn is in the galley.
Yeah,
What's the word
Quinn
for
is
it?
currently in the galley cooking up
Yeah.
something.
So
You
you
can
hear
definitely-
that if you want to intercept them, but otherwise they're just gonna look for the captain.
No, they can hear a very loud voice going, "God damn it, idiot mate! Why did you get candied freaking onions?"
Sounds like things are not going well.
You can also hear like a small tiny voice go, "Can I try that?"
Oh, Theo.
Yes, you pass, and there is a small child who looks only slightly less small than the last time you saw them, you academics, in the kitchen and is grabbing what looks like a ball of caramel on a stick that you assume is supposed to be a candied apple, but from the sound that just came out of the kitchen is probably somehow a candied onion. First mate Cantoni is, you have surmised, a man who has odd tastes and doesn't understand what people actually like food-wise. But yeah, unless you want to engage with that, you'll just head for the captain. So yeah, where is Captain Dre? I assume
Top deck.
decks, but yep. Yeah,
Hanging out
you
by the
guys head to
mast.
the helm. I guess yeah, you go to like center ship near the mast midships, and you, unless you stop him, Ozturk is definitely going to be the first one to start the conversation.
Dre's just got a candy, looks like an apple in his hand. There's a bite out of it though.
Is that not? I heard those were candied onions.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. First mate Cantoni up at like the helm is like, well, sir, if you're not going to eat it, I will.
Oh, Dre's eating it.
Uh, he can see that you're making a face. That's all he has to say. But you just like, yeah, you like make eye contact with him and go, I'm eating.
Oh, he's actually not even making a face. He's no problem with this at all.
All right, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so Ozturk is like, Captain, why are we headed south? The continent will be the other direction.
Easier current. Head right into that storm. We're traveling the most prevalent route. 1, if we're being followed, that's stupid. 2, if there are most people there, that's stupid. 3, if there's any good loot there, that's stupid, because that means there's other pirates there. This route's less traveled. Guess it's there faster. And if anyone's traveling this route besides us, they're either following us, looking for us, or they have some real good booty on board.
You go through this list, and Ozturk's, we're going to be looting on the way there.
It's a pirate ship, Cap. What'd you think?
Well, if we're not late to our engagement, I assume we'll be fine and safe.
We'll get there when we get there.
He looks around nervously. He's like, he just looks around nervously. I've just never been involved in something like that.
Pulls another candied onion from his pocket, tosses it at the dock. Just, you'll get used to it.
He grabs it, looks at it, and he can see what you're eating. He's like, I don't know if I want... Thank you, but I...
You're a loss. Grabs another one. Takes it back from him.
Yeah, that's sort of the things that are happening, unless you guys have other specific questions. And then, yeah, I guess I should say, Maxwell, that's what Bhavani explains to you, but in probably less clipped phrases. It's probably going to be faster in the end anyways. There's just a lot of other ships around. This is a route that we use often. We'll sort of go around the edge of the storm, the great storm, that sort of is there always. It's probably will be about as fast, and hopefully we can even get more height before we leave the stream. It might be able to get us on the island just a little sooner, depending on if we run into anyone.
Dre is staring at the storm right now. Just there's a current we can catch if we're lucky. It normally hits about a few weeks from now. If we're on time to make it with no interception, we can catch that perfectly at its apex. Should bring us up high enough.
And yeah, this distance, because you've gotten closer, you haven't started turning around the storm yet, but like the storm is now almost like half of the horizon at this point.
Drake's just watching it, kind of quietly, just looking at it.
But yeah, that's sort of the space if you guys wanted to play around in it more or not.
Just, oh yeah, I guess so. Just look at that. Look, kind of cut an eye at the, I guess the 4 of them, but mostly, indicating the 3 players. Obviously, just like, you all get comfy.
Well, I mean, Maxwell is in the captain's quarters. I think,
sure. So the 2 players, I suppose. Just, you all get comfy.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
She's a beautiful ship. I'll put you to work tomorrow, but for now, just make yourself comfortable. Make sure you got something good.
We're okay. Yes, should be an experience.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Not gonna address
Part of
that.
the crew.
Okay.
And then head down below deck if you need to. Quinn should be down in the galley working on something by now. It's usually good though, so figure it out.
Yeah, well, it smelled like onions, so...
It's probably onions. But when you've been on the well, let's be honest, I didn't get a lot of diverse foods in my upbringing, so I don't have as much of a refined taste as you folk. I'll take another carameled onion in his hand.
Mm-hmm. And you like just next to a barrel of these? I kind of want to know.
He's got like 2 in his pocket and just like a cup. There's like a bag of them next to his feet.
I mean, you don't need refined taste to not like candied onions.
Cat stops like juggling the one he's juggling, cuts an eye to you. You get what you can get sometimes.
Almost to
Fair
punctuate this part of the argument, one of the riggers, I'd say a young-ish woman who, yeah, Captain Dre, you know that she is one of the various slaves that you freed who's decided to stay on, named Daniil, and has just taken on the last name, a very dramatic last name of Windrunner. She actually, like, jumps off, like, the side of the rigging with, like, a rope just in one hand and swings down and just, like, braces herself against the mast and gestures with a hand. It's like,
A chucker one.
can I have one, Cap?
Yep.
Please? Yeah.
Not even no question, no
Thank
words
you.
needed. Just immediately throw her one.
It just in her mouth, and it just like keeps running up the rigging. She's kind of your like head rigger, you would say, like
I love her. She's my favorite.
when she's not getting, it's when you're not giving active actions, either you or the first mate. She's sort of the one that's coordinating people up there, and you also know, because it's an airship, especially as I assume you guys are not like right on the ocean. You're sort of a little up in the air to some extent.
Yeah.
There's a lot more rigging as soon as you get up off the sea, and it has as there's like sails on the sides as well. So people are not as experienced with the ship, see people climbing all over the sides and the bottom and above and just everywhere. In fact, there's actually a lot of deck space because so much of the crew are in the rigging.
Yeah, just happily, much known as Onion, cutting eyes at you all. Something else you needed, or?
Oh,
Strick's like, yep, that's it. And he's almost cowed, goes back down to help Reese with this silent organ that he doesn't understand the differences.
Fantastic. If any of you sees Bhavani around here, tell her to come my way for a bit. Otherwise, leave me to it. I'll be thinking.
It's for me.
Pleasure to have you on board.
Yeah, so as we're in this space, I would like... how am I going to do this? Yeah, Foxy, I'd like you to roll me 3d6, but it's not like you who are using your stats. This is like part of your crew.
Alright, that's 2 6s and a 3, which is a grand total of 15.
15.
I can do math.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, Yeah, so Bhavani eventually steps out. Maxwell, you've kind of used up all of the information you get out of her, and she's going to check around the crew. So, you can also be out and around. So she does eventually make it your way over to you, Dre.
I'll offer an onion.
And she says, I think that she does take one, although she has like a small knife on her, and she only takes like a part of one. Like she cuts out a section.
I'll bite the rest.
Yeah. And she definitely like makes a bit of a face, but you live on a ship. Again, sometimes you get what you get because that's what's there. So she definitely tries it, and I don't know. I think that you would find anyone who tries one is like, there's a surprisingly okay flavor. Like this is something someone made specifically to sell to people. You don't accidentally make candied onions. It is weird, but So yeah, she's there. And it's an odd flavor. We'll have to maybe apologize to our first mate. It wasn't a awful decision, just not the one I asked for.
I'm not picky.
She's sort of looking out at the storm with you, and leans over. It's like, so, our current job seems to have some complications.
Don't most of them? But yeah, this one's sticky.
It's the fact that we don't know exactly what the complications are that is worrying me.
Yeah, well, try not wearing as much. Seems to work for me.
Mm-hmm. It is around this time that same rigger, Danielle, she sort of swings back down again and is like sort of hanging upside down as she looks at you. It's like, Cap, ma'am, there is a ship. There's a ship down near the ocean line, not quite, ahead of us on the stream.
What's it look like?
Upside down shrug. She has, braided hair that's just like hanging down. It's like one tight braid. She goes, it looks harmless, but looks around. We can look harmless if we want to, and we're not that.
Sounds like we should go say hi then, huh?
Definitely, as you say that, your wife, actually, I forgot to ask if, Bhavani if you actually married her or if she's just the quartermaster.
Yeah, so we had to talk about it, and while Dre initially proposed that, she was just like, no, that's not how this works. You can, like, I just own the ship, you can captain, idiot, and I'll just be your quartermaster. And he's like, cool, that works.
So your quartermaster Bhavani looks around and is like, well, maybe we can scope it out. Possibly ask the 3 academics if they recognize this ship in case it happens to be something that they've seen around. I know that and she sort of gestures, the bookish one doesn't seem very aware, but at least the historian one might have noticed something.
Yeah, go grab the eggheads for me if you don't mind. And while you're at it, go ahead and get the rigs lowered. Take the guns out, but don't load them yet. We'll play this one safe.
And so yeah, Bhavani sort of comes to the 3 of you, and I guess the other 2 players, you can definitely be alerted to this since most of them are down around with you, and sort of asks to see you all on the, I guess, is it the poop deck where like the helm is?
Technically,
it's just like
yeah.
that upper deck.
It's like, yeah, the you could call it aft, or yeah, aft, stern.
Yeah, aft it would be in the back.
Yeah, aft, yeah. So you just call it the aft deck, you know, whatever.
Okay, yeah, we'll say aft deck because poop deck sounds too silly. Aft deck. You get up to the aft deck and yeah, Dre is already there. I believe that the first mate would be helming, and you can feel the ship kind of shift as if it's going at a tilt, so that it is easier for a spyglass from that position to see a ship below.
Hey, eggheads. You guys busy right now?
Just settling in.
Not particularly.
Come get a look at this then. There's a ship out there. Familiar to you?
Then, yeah, what I'd like to do is for all y'all to roll me something of, like, again, like perception or insight for, is that some
Ready?
kind of ship you recognize or not?
Do you have a telescope? Something to look through?
Yeah, there is a spyglass
Yeah,
that you can
spyglass.
use to see, because it is a ways down and away.
15
just-
again.
Killing those
15,
15s.
wow.
16.
16, oof.
Oof. Not good. Not bad either.
You know what? I'm going to let you actually roll some of your history check, if you want to, because you might recognize the name
forgot
of it.
about that. What does that one do again?
Well, just like the
An
skill.
MP
The,
And an MP to re-roll, is that?
Oh, yeah, if you want to use that, sure.
Instead roll lore to try and recall.
Yeah, lore is kind of your historian skill.
So whenever I fail a roll, I can then. So I failed a
Re-roll
roll
with lore.
beyond this. Now I can re-roll with lore.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does cost a mental point, though, so keep track of that.
Yep. Better, but with a worse modifier. I got 14. So. thank you.
14. So, yeah, this ship name, which I definitely know and didn't forget to generate. I actually think I wrote it down, just have to find it. Nope, it is not that.
It's called the Southern Pale.
So the ship is... Oh, sure, we'll use that. So this ship is called the Southern Pale. I think it's like pale, like a pale face and color, not like a bucket. The Southern Pale. It is definitely a sail ship. It doesn't seem like it's an airship. It doesn't seem to be rigged up to be one. I think just for the history check, because I like that one first, you are pretty sure that it is one of 2 ships. It is either a ship that is known for, like, quick, I guess, trading between multiple storm islands. It's definitely one that's known to be around here. So it's either it's like, hey, we just need supplies moved from this place to this place really, really quickly, because it is a very fast ship. Or it is a privateer ship who uses that as a cover, and you're just not sure which one. Now, for the other 2, you rolled pretty high perception. I'm going to say, Arden, you're more out in the field just as part of your job, I guess, or like your discipline. So you have seen a lot more ships, but the Southern Pale has an interesting coloring to it. It's probably why it is called the Southern Pale. It is like a whiter wood, a lighter color. It almost makes it look ghostly. And you haven't really been around the Storm Islands, but you could have sworn that like a ship with that very unique color had been following you at some point over the year, and you're trying to place it. Like, following you, I should say, like, it definitely was on the same route as your ship, and not in this part of the world. It was probably actually in, like, a northern slipstream, and you're just like, that's odd. I'll say, Oliver, you're pretty sure you haven't seen this ship before. Like, you're very confident.
Okay.
Huh.
Doesn't look
Can't
familiar
quite
to
put my
me.
finger on it, but it looks familiar. Don't know
Interesting.
where exactly we've seen them before, but it's odd that they're this far south.
Couldn't agree more. Arden, was it?
Yeah.
Noted. You got an eye about you. Something about that's a little off. I'm thinking we get a closer look. You guys interested?
Sure.
I mean, I
Actually.
don't think we have too much of a choice, do we?
You're getting used to this. Hoist the rigs! Bring us
That would
in!
be-
Let's have a word.
Just a clarifying question, though, for Arden. Do you mean, like, the captain's gonna do it anyways, or do you mean it's inescapable? Oh, yeah, okay. Wanted to check, because I'm like, you guys could just go away. As an airship, it's like they can't really
I
do
know.
much.
Oh no, we're going in.
Based on all of the encounters that we've seen so far, that's not it.
Yeah.
They're learning! They're learning!
So, Dre, how is it? Do you want to get a closer look?
As
You
we're
gonna, like
above
try
them.
and surprise them and stealth in, or
No, I think as we're above them, we'll make a nice big show of it. We'll bring the bottom of the hull down nice and right above them, and just kind of skid to a nice sideways hull right beside them. Let them know, like, that's very clear. Let them know we're there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just kind of skid in close, you know, ring the bell, ding the horn, something. Let them know we're coming in, and then we'll pull up beside them.
Play the organ.
Play the organ. Play the organ.
The organ.
Yeah, actually, that's very, very funny. Let's see.
Steamboat Willie style.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah.
Dude,
You know how most ships have like the funnel at the top?
Mm-hmm.
We just have pipe organ pipes.
Yeah. Actually, it's cool as shit. Okay, I kind of like that. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I think that those would probably, like, as much as the pipe organ itself is in the center, I'd say for sense of style, the actual place where that comes out of the ship is, like, in the back, like, behind the helm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with pipe organs, they usually pipe it somewhere else. You don't have a plane right
Yeah,
next to the
yeah.
plane. It's
Yeah, so like the
moving.
way I kind of imagined it is like the pipe organ is like there, like in the center of the ship, but almost like
Mhm.
coming off the back of the ship, like exhaust
Mhm.
pipes is where the pipes are coming out.
Exactly what I was
Mhm.
thinking. Exactly what I had in my head.
I think you repurposed the exhaust pipes that were used for, like, the Zeppelin, like, airbag
Makes sense.
part. Like, yeah, this is how we ejected it before. And you're like, oh, we're not using those. Instead of uninstalling them, hear me out.
Organ pipes.
Organ
Pipe
Listen,
organ.
that sounds fucking terrifying. You fucking Gary, pirate ships approaching, you start hearing organ in the background. You're like, oh yeah, we're fucked. Like, that's it. We're dead.
IRL boss music.
IRL boss music. We're fucked.
It's Davy Jones.
Here for that shit.
That's pretty good.
I love that we just all have the same thought. I'm like, yeah, no, they'll all just come out of the deck like exhaust pipes. Like, yeah, no, that's exactly what we're all. Like, that's what's happening there.
Just writing a name, and I have done the poor decision of picking Polish as the random
Good job.
name
Oh.
You did it.
source for this ship.
You did a great job.
Played yourself.
You played yourself.
And now I have to spell this shit.
Oh no.
Anyways, you guys have flown this ship down, and do you want to make this intimidating? You want to try and start off with like a roll already to set the tone of this, or is this
Yeah,
just a friendly?
I'll set the tone. Why not? I'll set the tone. I'll use my subtlety because I'm not trying to like outwardly like look like, hey, what's up? Give me your shit. But I'll use subtlety for my stat and intimidation for my skill because I'm definitely trying to give them the feel it's like we're a more powerful ship that could definitely threaten them, but not immediately coming off threatening. So let me get that roll going for you, big boss.
Okay.
That's
Lore master.
Yeah. Oh, the Lorist, master of the lore.
Lorist.
That's gonna be a let's see, 13 plus 5 for 18 is a grand total.
Yeah, that's a full success. This is just a static one. Like they're not resisting anything. This is just the tone that you have set. And yeah, it's pretty intimidating. I'm gonna say you didn't like dive, so when an airship dives, there's like a lot of noise and vibration that every ship sounds slightly differently when that happens. So you don't get any of that. That's a much more like dramatic, but like terrifyingly fast entrance. But you do still like descend upon them with just like two, I'm like assuming kind of minor chords on this pipe organ as like a horn.
Dun,
Although, Reese, you get to decide what kind of music this is. I have no idea how Reese like does music.
It's just deep tones, except like one of the keys as they're descending, when he hits it, it's very off, very out of tune. And you can like anybody on the ship who like after he hits it, anybody that's like in the vicinity can just hear him yell, "God damn it!"
Why isn't it fixed? I like that. Anyways, it's
He's
still
trying
like
to play
kind of
happy music, but it just comes out to distort it.
He's trying to do a happy little toot toot, but it turns out to be scary. Anyways, so yeah, that's sort of the way that you descend, and you see this crew on this other ship. Not like scramble, but definitely prepare because they're not sure what's going on. I'm trying to remember which is the best music to play for this.
Whichever you feel like.
Oh,
I'm here for it. Big vibes.
So yeah, well, I mean, you've set intimidating vibes. I'm trying to match that. So you come down next to this ship, and standing before you is a crew of various. They don't look like pirates to you off the top of your head. You know, they seem like they're a regular trading vessel. A captain, or at least you assume the captain. It's a lady with a very nice hat and like a pretty smart jacket. Steps up and it's, hail. What's the name of your vessel? You have land on the side that is, your name is on the opposite side of Lady Rachel, so they can't see. But yeah, you see that this is the Southern Pale.
Hail, Captain Dre, the Lady Rachel. Yourself?
It's like, well, Captain Dwowski. The Southern Pale, as you can see.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Dangerous waves out here. You traveling alone?
Well, we travel this often, and she's definitely... You can tell the intimidation has done something that this captain is a little like, don't know about this. But hasn't, like, gotten rude yet. It's like, we travel this often.
Not a well-worn path, though. Here, there's pirates afoot.
There's pirates everywhere.
Couldn't
And
agree
he's giving
more.
you kind of a look.
Gotta say, though, ship like yours, big old hull like that, those sails, probably fast. And if you're a trader, you're carrying some good cargo, I wager. Want to keep all that safe, I bet. Probably pretty free for protection, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a contested role that one of the other crew members, and even if you're not on the deck, there are like speaking tubes that you can have open and kind of tell what's going on other decks when you're prepared. So if any of the other crew want to think of something they could do to cooperate, that's just going to how the ship's going to work. Anyone on the ship can help any role if they can justify it.
I'm rolling. I guess I'm gonna roll. So yeah, still going for still subtlety here because I'm not trying to like come off too intimidating just yet. But we'll go with negotiate this time. It's 1 point less, but I'm trying to. I'm negotiating right now rather than intimidating.
Yeah.
Here comes the roll, boss man. Oh, that's a good roll. That's 8 and a 5 is another 13 plus I guess 4 now makes that 17.
Mm-hmm. And as I kind of mentioned, you have 2 standard roles that you can apply to any of your standard skills. So if you want to spend social credit, you can improve that up to 3 more with Sway.
I'll spend 1 more social credit with Sway.
And so what's the total then?
18.
Kind of lost it. 18. Yeah, so you're doing that, and I think with an 18, considering their role, you can see that Captain is probably convinced, you think, but she definitely can tell what you're implying.
Mhm.
You're subtly convincing her, but not really hiding it too much, it seems like. And it's like, yes, we would pay to not have our cargo stolen. I don't know what kind of protection services you're offering and what the cost might be. And she has a saber on her hip and doesn't like reach for it, but you can tell stances in a way that's like, I am worried about this and could do that.
In response to her question, just, well, that depends. What's your home?
I'm gonna have you actually roll me a defensive roll.
Uh-huh.
You can tell that she's being cagey about this, but you're gonna roll awareness
Okay, cool.
as 7, 8, 9. Ooh, that's not super great.
Alright, awareness. I can still pick my own, pick a skill if I want.
Yeah, you pick your own skill.
I'm gonna go with demand here. Here comes the roll. That's not horrible. That's 11 plus my awareness is 2, taking it to 13. My demand is 2 more, taking it to 15.
But yeah, this isn't the same success category. Yeah, so her response is very much, well, we have various trade goods. Our job is primarily to take things from one of the storm islands to the other. Supplies, food. I'll admit, there are some valuable metals and things in our hull. And I think you can tell that because you got pretty close,
She's holding
she
something back.
isn't lying. Yeah, she's not lying about what she has in the hull, but she's trying very carefully to not tell you everything on the ship.
Yeah, no. She said Storm Islands, though, so that's where she fucked up. Just travel between Storm Islands, huh? Means she might have some human cargo on board?
She's like, oh, no, nothing of that sort. I promise. That's what we have in the hull.
All right.
And you think she's actually being honest about that. I would like to say that the 4 academics, you are on deck, and I assume that you could also ask questions. You're very close by.
She did say rare metals.
I guess I might ask Maxwell might ask, where are you hailing from? Or she said from the Storm Islands, or were you like going to the Storm Islands? Sorry, I forgot which.
She said that she traveled
She
between
just
them,
said between
Yeah.
Storm
Between
Islands,
the
and you're pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, well, I am hailing from the, and I have forgotten some of the nation names we have invented.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, Maxwell, the one that you hail from, like the nation, I can't remember. We came up with several silly names.
Anglician?
The Englishman? Yeah, those
Yeah.
guys.
The English.
Fucking
English.
The English.
English man.
Anglician. It's like, well, some from the Anglician territories, just farther south. I'm participating in some trading there. And yeah, it's still
Okay.
definitely cagey. I'm just gonna let his role sort of land there of not saying much about that.
So what kind of metals do you have?
She's like, I don't rightly know. I'm not really an expert, and looks over to her first mate, and he sort of smartly, it's like, mostly metals, ma'am. I'm assuming for manufacturing purposes. They're all highly conductive. I'm assuming using for some of the lightning harvesting. Meant for farther into the storm, I believe.
Well, if the metals are used for lightning harvesting, and he said that out loud, and Dre's not happy. Just, yeah, sorry, friends, I'm about to be an asshole. So, just, oh, that's quaint. Well, I'm sure we can get a good handle on the metals when when we get a good look at the person. He'll snap his fingers, and I guess the crew would probably know that's a good signal to let the guns out, and just, we'll take your whole haul. Hand it over.
Yeah, that's definitely very much an intimidation.
You bet it
I'm
is!
assuming so. At least command.
Yeah,
And if y'all
I'm gonna
want-
do command intimidate,
that.
obviously. That's the game plan. 5, 5, 6!
Jesus.
Damn. You will find out that the opposing crew rolled a 3 and a 1 and a 1.
Oh no.
So, like,
Captain Dre, say my name!
I guess none of you really have to help, but yeah, all of you on the ship see that the crew have rolled out guns, and a lot of your riggers already have, like, grappling hooks ready, and
Yeah.
you see that the plank, like, the boarding plank is already, like, on the deck. It's not rolled out yet, but it's ready, and I think the academics here, you did not notice when the plank came out, and it's just like, oh, that's just ready suddenly.
Yeah, we
There's
don't
people
fuck
ready to
around
run
around
that.
here, alright?
I think you guys would have an insight, though, that, like, while there's 2 levels of guns, with this many riggers up top, only, like, the 1 level on one side is actually armed at this point. But they don't know that. They just know that all the guns came out suddenly.
Hiya.
Actually, that'd be kind of fun. Reese, what mechanic stuff did you do to make that possible, to make it look like... I'm assuming that you've set that up. A fail. I assume that you've done something about that, Reese, to make it so all these things can open all at once.
Yeah. I mean, I would have gone through and made trapdoors and all the contraptions so that anything that needs to rise or lower or come out where it needs to come out just kind of pops out where it needs
Just a
to.
bunch of pulleys, just...
Yeah,
I could dig
like-
that, yeah. Yeah, so the captain is out there's like, just looking around kind of nervous. It's like, well, I suppose that my employer will be upset to hear that, but it'd be better that they heard it instead of never saw us again.
Couldn't agree more.
And you see her, like, unbuckle her sword as, like, sort of the sign of, like, we're gonna disarm now, and just, like, toss it behind her, and her crew sort of does the same, as they're like, all right, we get what's going on here.
Yeah, Trey will just kind of throw a head nod, like kind of like indicating the crew can go ahead and start boarding and taking all their shit. And just sometimes protection can't be bought.
I want to know how... Sorry, finish.
Hey, Captain,
What's up, boss?
can we swap out some of these, candied onions for apples or oranges or some shit?
Good point. You got any food on board?
Definitely you see some of the crew extra, like, salty about that, but the first mate nods. It's like, we do have some supplies that we might be able to spare other needy sailors.
Well, that's good. We'll be taking most of it.
Wait, Reese, it was Reese, right?
Yeah.
Do you eat?
No, but I mean, I do have concerns for the rest of you. You guys can't
Oh.
be eating onions forever.
That
Pretty good.
There's
Thanks.
other food on board.
very kind
It's
of
just
you.
a snack he got. It's mostly pickled eggs and, like, dried fruit and, like, jerky, but...
Oh no, we're taking most of their food, and then if they're mad about that, then like Terry doesn't even care. Just like, it's a town a few days back. Might as well head back there if we need to restock.
Well, yeah, they're only just outside the storm, and it's not going to be hard for them to just head directly to the next island. This is not, like, killing them. It means that they're going to be delayed to where they're going.
Yeah, I figured.
But, like, what I'd like to know, you academic types, are you, like, gonna go on the other ship with them as they do stuff? No?
I'm going with-
Particularly, but Arden has just been, like, watching this interaction. It's been an earshot, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, you were all on, like, the aft deck
okay.
while this is happening.
So yeah, just like throughout this encounter, Arden's just been like watching and like listening very intently. Do I have like a feel now for like how honest they've been with this? Like,
You may roll
there
insight
something there?
or use some of your
Okay, it's
like-
interests if you would like
And
to.
then-
Check
yeah,
vibes,
the
check
other-
vibes,
yeah,
check
and then
vibes.
the other thing is like how safe are we? Is like, is there something they're hiding, something up their sleeve?
Entirely fair.
Potentially like an alarm button or something. I don't know. Let's
They're
see what's
gonna,
inside.
they're gonna call for an
It's just
emergency
like
meeting.
Generally-
That's not bad. That's not bad. Oh my god.
like general
another
knowledge.
fucking 15.
Jesus.
Damn. I'm gonna say, as a sort of note,
That was my mod.
because yeah, if you're doing insight, this is just going to be what do you get off of how they've talked. And just general knowledge, you know that like this kind of shakedown happens somewhat often. So like that, like
Especially
this
around here.
taking of stuff and handing it over isn't that uncommon. With a 15, yeah. So you wanted to know, is there danger? What are they hiding? I might need something a little more specific than that from you. And what are they being dishonest about? So yeah, what are they hiding? Anything specific, or like a little more specific than that?
I mean, it's more like kind of related to the other two questions. Like, are they hiding
Okay.
like some type of mechanism on this ship that's like, you know,
So it's more about the
a
danger, or
fail-safe
is it
like
more about-
pirate thing? Yeah, that, or it's like, have they been forthright about everything they're holding on this ship?
Yeah, I mean, I just can answer that last one for you, is because definitely Dre's role is just going to apply to all of you. You can tell that there's something that this captain she's being cagey about, but as far as those three answers, you are, to the first one, you don't think that there's like a secret mechanism or alarm on the ship that you can't see. So nothing like that. You think that the thing they're being cagey about is like outside the hold. Like there's something else on the ship that they are trying to keep secret. And the last one of that's what they're being dishonest about. And what are they hiding? You're looking at this ship, and there's like not a lot of weapons, and I don't know how much information other like people shared about what they remember. I know that or what they know. I know, Maxwell, you were like not sure, is this a privateer vessel or a trading? If you didn't say anything though, then I'd say
I didn't say anything when everyone else just said, "Yep, we're going in." I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna hold that."
I think when it comes to what are they hiding, yeah, you see that they are somewhat armed but not heavily armed, and you think if they're hiding something in regards to like the danger, it could be that they have other weapons around or some sort of like ace in the hole. It's not like a mechanism, it's not like a secret trap or something. They might have some other weapons that they're not showing you.
So the one thing I said, I kind of shook when you asked for going across. I shook my head. No, I changed my mind on that, thinking more of what the character would do. My plan was, when this whole discussion was going off, I was going to try to be a little bit like stealthy and slink back into the crowd. But if everyone's kind of just going over to like grab stuff and take it off, I think he might.
A certain number of the crew is doing that. They're
Yeah, a certain number of
like.
He might try to sneak aboard the other ship in a way where he's unnoticed and try and see if he can get in like captain's quarters as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got
okay,
some skills for that.
Yeah, I was like, can I like potentially contest that just to like see that he's doing it, and then like like tell him like look
Sure.
outside the hole. Okay.
Yeah, this is the way this is gonna work. Is Maxwell, you can roll like whatever kind of stealth that you want to do.
Yep.
To go unnoticed, and we're gonna contest that against the Southern Pale's perception, but then also
So
if Arden, you want to notice them, whatever skill you want to do that.
All right.
first off, because I'm gonna be using my special abilities, what does it take to channel?
Oh, that's in timed combat. That's important, where it's a whole action, but this is not timed.
Okay.
So just you start doing that. Just know that you can't keep up any of your like magic stuff for more than a few minutes, depending on your willpower.
And then
But it's pretty easy to drop and bring it back up. So.
Yep, I just gotta make sure I know what I'm doing with that. And then and then
describe that for me really quick. So you have to breathe in aether. What does that like feel like for you?
yeah, I think he like takes a moment as he kind of like initially just sinks back into the crowd, and like you see like I'm assuming everyone's watching the ship basically and like seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
He kind of goes behind everyone and kind of just like almost like someone who like looks nervous, just kind of. And the takes in like a deep breath, and if you're paying attention, you might realize he's channeling magic, but it's incredibly hard because it looks like he's just like out of breath. But then he's kind of just like trying to like pose himself. But other than that, it is completely impossible to tell that he's channeling magic. Like,
Yeah.
It, like
I think especially for your style of magic, it's not big and flashy. So.
Yeah, and so I have what's called the deceptive glow or whatever, which is my
Mhm.
channeling. Basically, is complete. I can completely stay unnoticed while channeling and lying. And that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the flavor
Right.
I had in mind, and you can counter this, is
Okay.
like you're kind of bending light around you. So all it is you're kind of like flicker. Like it's easy to not notice you because
Yeah.
literally light kind of slides off of you. You're just kind of a vaguer because of this.
So yeah, like where I normally have this black suit, which is probably very clear, it almost doesn't look that way, and I kind of just look like, if you aren't focused on me, I just look like another crew member moving by. I look like the people
Yeah.
that are around almost.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and make that stealth roll. I think probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, that's
Avoid.
whatever. Avoid is to get out of the way of stuff, actually.
Oh, okay.
But
Um,
I gave you a skill that specifically
just
go
do the-
unnoticed.
Yep, I can do that one. Yeah, or I think I can use the light step skill as well. Did
Yeah.
not roll great, but I can spend MP to
Point.
improve it. So
Hmm.
let me just make sure I got all of my stuff figured out on that one first.
Yeah, I don't even think points would really help that much. I got a 10 to notice, so I probably won't notice you. But that's fine. That just means I won't pick out like him in particular. Like it might be him that I tell this to. It might not be. Like I just want to alert like someone on the crew. It's like, hey, like look somewhere outside the hole. There's something they're not telling us.
If you told me, I'm gonna go look because I was also interested in the medals
Okay.
Yeah.
that they had.
I got 11, but I'm gonna spend. It says
You can spend 6
can
points
spend
actually on this.
6
if you want.
points instead on this, and I'm gonna
Jesus.
spend 6 points on it because it's my power lets me double the amount of points I can put on it. So
Yeah, but you also, that's a lot of points to spend. So
yeah. And are those action points or NP points or?
actually, any of the 3, because of the nature of this power, that's kind of what makes it really good.
I'll take it off my social one because that, I'm
No, but
blending.
you can mix the
Why
3.
not?
I mean, you can do like 4 out of one, 2 out of
okay.
another if you want.
I got lots of social, so I'm gonna send it out of there.
That's true. You got lots of social.
Yeah, I think
So-
as Arden points out, like the heading below the hold and Oliver moves to like head there, Dre would indicate like to a few of the like moving in pirates like to go with him or with them, like both of them honestly, just like to keep them safe and like to make sure like if they're gonna go like look at anything, in case there is some surprise or some like they're waiting for an ambush, like take a few guys with with weapons with you just in case.
Yeah, I think that the first mate sort of makes it his job to follow.
Yeah.
Just Oliver, I guess, because Arden, I think you said you're staying here, or are you going with?
Just gonna stay around our boat,
Okay.
just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dre is staying at the edge of the deck of Lady Rachel, like kind of like foot over the edge, like or like foot like up on the edge, but like not going over, because like keeping an eye on their captain, just watching her, seeing if she gives any commands, any gestures or anything.
Just staring Pola down. Yep.
Yeah, staring her all down.
Yeah. So then, yeah.
So Reese
finish.
is gonna come up onto the deck to stand with the captain, and he kind of leans over and he looks at the captain. And he's like, "So, could she make you a man, Captain?"
Looks her up and down, just not my type.
She's not gonna respond to that, but definitely heard it. Just like a little eyebrow raise, like, really? Huh, interesting. Anyways, yeah.
Mine a
So
little darker, all right.
what I would like then is the 2 of you that are going on the ship.
Yes.
Roll something to notice things, I guess. However you want to do that. Whether it's like I'm using my knowledge. I'm gonna say for Oliver, because you're just like led to the hole, and it's as they say. There's like food supplies. There's like a lot of cloth and spices that are like not super expensive, but are just used for stuff. And then like at least a third of that is these crates of various metals. So if you want to look and understand those better, you can definitely use your like expertise in that instead. But if you want to try and notice what else there is, it's going to be definitely some kind of awareness thing.
Yeah, I'll just roll notice then.
I rolled noticed. I got a 13, but I just what's the breaking points again? Because I think I'm gonna up it to get what the next one is, but I don't remember. Is it 14 that comedic success kicks in versus the other ones?
I am going to open up
Is
that
open
thing.
yet, or-
Yeah, it's below a 5 is a total failure, 6 to 10 is a heroic failure, 11 to 15 is a comedic success, and 16 or more is a
I'll
full
leave it.
success.
I'll leave it at between 11 and 15 then.
Okay, so
Okay.
I rolled a 14. Can I then spend 3?
You get 3 mental points, yeah.
Yeah, I'll spend 3
improve it.
mental points then to improve it up to a. What does that make it? A 17?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, 17.
You can just spend 2 if you want to conserve that to get it to a 16,
Oh, okay.
because there's not
Yeah,
really a big
then-
difference.
Yeah, okay. Okay, spend 2, make it 16.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do the metals first. The metals are, as they say, they're like refined. They are actually a bunch of rods, just a series of them that are maybe like 4 feet long, and each of them actually down the center has. You could tell just because you're an expert at this. You like run your finger over the end. It's actually 2 different kinds of steel, with the center being far more like aether enriched.
Mhm.
And you know that like the lightning that comes off of this storm, by its nature, is being actually made of like the ocean's aether, this like violet sea stuff. Hey, roll credits. The lightning that comes off of it is raw magical energy. It's like aether made into plasma. So this metal will conduct that better, and that's what it's for. I think you'd be familiar enough with the technology to know that they'll like make these lightning rods. They'll fuse a bunch of these together, probably with some kind of like matter reformation magic, because it's just simpler that way. And then probably coat the outside of it with something that makes it so lightning won't jump to something else.
Gotcha.
Is how it is. So this is definitely for like lightning harvesting. And you go through a few of these boxes, and that's pretty much what it is in the hull here. Maxwell, you sort of are stealthing your way through, and for a second you're like worried that someone might notice you, but you sort of do this half step where as you're moving with the crew of one ship, you just wait for a sort of break or a stumble, and now you're standing as if you're a crew of the ship that you're invading. And you look around, and just like never not look at the Lady Rachel, because everyone's looking at it, and that would look weird. But you do sort of like back off into the corner and find, and then you're below decks.
Yep.
Uh,
You get away, and then just like you see someone walks across carrying one of the luggage things, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
yeah. Yeah, it's very much like disappeared in the crowd. Yeah, and
Train comes by, and then he's gone.
you can quite easily find your way around the ship, and you find a room that looks like it's the captain's quarters, although much less, let's say, decorated than the Lady Rachel. It's more bare bones. There is a desk, as most of these have something like that. There's a navigation table. The map still like is mechanical and functions that way, but it isn't as nice. Like the gems in it are less valuable, and you can tell the precision of it is less exact. And there's not really much else. There's like a bunk. There's several like charts and maybe a few books on just like reference material, but it's pretty Spartan.
So it doesn't look like there's any like logbooks or anything like that.
Well, you haven't looked in the desk. I'm just saying that there's like
yeah,
a desk
I'll
that
look.
looks empty.
I mean, I'll look at the desk.
Yeah. I just want to know if there's other places you wanted to check out. You can just roll generally to like investigate the whole room if you want, but
I mean, he'd probably look generally to see like if I feel like he has some knowledge of good hiding spots for things, and he just kind of wants to check those for. He's specifically looking for like a logbook or some like mission plan of what they were doing, basically. Information.
yeah. The very limited shelf space, it looks like it is mostly reference material as you rifle through it. There's like 1 or 2 things that are like books that are probably more for entertainment, you guess, but no one seems to have read them. It's like, yeah, if ever I get bored, this is like a novel.
From their coffee table books.
But that's like 2 out of like the 10 books that are there. You go through the desk, and there is a drawer that's easy to open that does have like a lot of log records of what they're doing. There is a locked desk drawer, and I would like you to also roll me some probably notice or deduce.
My deuce. My notice is better than my deuce, but not by much. But okay. Well, I rolled triple ones.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I knew by the look on his face. I'm like, that's not a good look.
Yeah, I
Things,
knew.
to be clear, but I rolled triple one.
Oh god.
Oh no!
Well, that's interesting. It's a 6 still, though, which is fun.
Yeah.
So this is what's a heroic failure,
Actually,
a mixed result.
7, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much of a difference there. So you, like, look at this locked dresser, and at first you, like, mess with it and won't unlock, and you, like, look around for a key, and you can't find it. What I think ends up happening is you make, like, sort of a loud noise, and you, like, duck down, and you're worried. You're like, oh, what's like, someone gonna see? You don't hear anyone coming for you, and you are like, well, probably it just blended in with the sounds of the people loading and unloading. And I think that's part of, like, the heroic failure is you do not get into this. And in fact, as you look back up, you think you might have accidentally jammed the, like, locked dresser drawer so that it will not, like, you don't think a key is going to work on it now. It might be, like, kind of jammed. It's not even, like, wiggling anymore. But you still have, you think, another shot to investigate other stuff.
Okay.
So effectively, you can roll again, just the locked dresser is locked off to you.
Cool. Yeah.
Unless you want to make a lot of noise and break it. I don't know if you have anything for that, though.
No, not really. I mean, like, I could try, like, a strength or something, or, like, a swipe, but... Yeah, I'll give another notice check for something else.
Take the whole
That-
thing.
Will just be a 14, so a comedic success again.
Okay. This is just going to be for the flavor. Yeah, as you are, like, looking around, you sort of rifle through the papers again, and there's something you do notice of, like, if this ship is fully employed, this is not enough, like, shipping manifests. Like, this is not enough trips to employ all these people all the time. And it's, like, evenly spaced out, though.
That, like, don't make sense, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and while you're thinking about that, you just sort of can't find anything else. And as you turn around sharply to, like, look around the room, your knee bumps really hard into the desk, and you, like, have to stifle a swear. But something rattles in there. You have all the papers in your hand, and something rattles in the bottom of that. And you look to the bottom of this dresser, and you're like, oh, there's a secret compartment in the bottom of this open dresser.
Can I open that? Or is
You
that...
have, yeah, that's gonna be one more roll to see if you can get into that, and I'm not sure what you want to do for that.
What would make the most sense? Would like I almost would think like a swipe maybe to like open it up, or would that make sense? Or like an acrobatics or something? Or
I mean, it's backflip to open it. No, I think swipe is like the very dexterous hand motion. So yeah.
That's why I was thinking that. Well, it's like acrobatic, like hand acrobatics or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I made clearly acrobatics is full body movement, where
Gotcha.
swipe is like a really quick grab or subtle thing. It's a spree.
16.
Hey, oh, look at him.
16. Yeah, I think you just like gently move your fingers around the side, and you sort of like feel a spot that's supposed to open up. And this isn't locked because this is supposed to be like secret, and a big lock would be obvious.
Right.
But you sort of feel around it, and you're like, all right, and pull a fake bottom out of the bottom of this. And there is a much more condensed ledger that is much less detailed, because official ledgers for like shipping, there's a lot of details you have to keep on record. This is instead just a ledger of how much they got paid and something vague about like caught pirates here, stopped people there. But the thing you notice is it has a completely different captain's name on it.
What name is that? and by the way, I think while this is all happening, Maxwell actually has like a small piece of paper, and he's writing down the important pieces of information that he kind of can just like fold up into his jacket, basically. So.
Yeah. Anita is the first name. It's Captain Anita.
I need a name. That's really good.
I'm here all week,
I'm
folks.
using the generator. I didn't do it on purpose. Anita Basa.
God damn it.
That was really, really clever. I really like that.
You're welcome.
And
It's Anita Basa, B-A-S-A. And I think that's what reminds you from like that role you had that was a mixed success earlier. You actually think that the Southern Pale is both a regular shipping vessel and a privateer vessel. Anita Basa is a known privateer. You think they like swap the ship off every once in a while.
It's both. The
Hilarious.
stories
That's
of
amazing.
both of them, but in separate instances. Okay, cool. I take that.
It's actually
note.
like And I think the last thing you find, because that's really the mystery of what this ship is, there is the most recent job is it just says patrol for targets, and it's this period of time, and it's for this area, you assume, because this is like where they normally are.
Look at that, we caught some other pirates.
But you don't know.
Of course I don't know that.
No, this is extremely vague for a reason, you think.
Okay.
But this one actually has the name of the current captain, not of
Not Anita.
Anita
The
Bossa.
one that they gave us.
It is Pola.
Hold on.
I feel like Bossa is actually short for boss ass bitch, so it's Anita boss ass bitch.
I think with that, like, probably like there's like a thud of someone like moving a crate like upstairs yet, and at this point he's like, okay, now I need to go. I've like spent too long. He'll try and leave the journal as it was, put it back in, close the secret compartment back up, make it look like he's not there besides the broken lock, and then he's gonna try and leave.
Okay. Yep. He's like, well, hopefully they think that broke on its own.
Yeah, or they think someone came in here to steal something, and then they saw it broken. We're like, yeah, whatever, fine, and didn't take anything. So.
And so yeah, you easily slip out. We're gonna use the same roll, so it's just you can get back on the ship. They're still unloading, and I don't know if you want to say anything. Yeah, you're the one who has the information about this. All right. Then what I'm gonna need is for
Did I not find anything else?
Right. Did you want to look at other places before we?
Well, cause
Right. So you've looked through the hole. The hold. Where else do you want to look?
well, I heard the message from what's the character's name?
Arden.
Arden, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to check to see.
Yeah, they
'cause I
told
was
you.
going by the hold anyway, so I just wanted to check to see if there's anything weird going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
Another notice then?
Yeah, and it's gonna be more like generally as you go through the ship, because you think that they will probably object to you going anywhere else, but
Right. That is going to be a 21.
Woo! Big numbers.
dang. Yeah, you pretty sharp eye. I think the thing you notice is the cannons that are like you go through where the like cannon deck is. The cannons look not well used, but you see rigging that you're not familiar with, but could definitely house bigger ones if they wanted to. And there's like not a reason to have bigger rigging for smaller cannons.
Yep.
And you go through to the hold, and you can see like on the way there they have a not like a we trade in people kind of size of hold, or what's the word, brig, but they still have a pretty decent brig, and they have a lot of racks for weapons without weapons on them. It's like things that don't really line up. And I think the last thing you notice is as these crates are being moved, there is, because you roll a 21, and that's very good, when one of the crates gets moved, you see a section of floor that you would not have noticed otherwise rattle a bit, and it's its own separate, like, door.
Gonna open it.
Yeah, okay. You go to open it, and the crew that was, like, brought you into this room for the ship, like, try and object, and then the first mate just, like, stands in front of them, and, while he has no sense of taste at all, Cantoni definitely is not an unintimidating figure, and he pulls out, like, from this sort of pocket on his back, this very wicked-looking knife, and then he just, like, folds his arms with the knife going down. And he just looks at him, and so you're gonna get a chance to look down in there. There is not people down there. It's a very small compartment, but it is a small compartment with a mechanism that you don't recognize immediately. But here, as you take a second to look at it, and you look at some of the material parts, it's a radio, a long-distance radio. And there are a series of coded notes on the side as to, like, how to communicate on this. You don't know, you can't actually read them because they are themselves encoded, but it's like, if you know the language, you could decipher it.
Is this radio powered by Aether?
Yeah,
In that case,
it's powered off right now, but
I'm gonna take the notes and drain all of the Aether out of it. Oh, I need to.
you need to spend some points to do that first. But I'm gonna
Can
say
I just like discharge some? Just like.
yeah, I'm gonna say you could just actually roll me some of your material science real quick because I just love this flavor.
Can do. That is. Hold on. Plus 2. 15.
Nice.
15.
Keep it on
You
roll.
look at this radio, and at least one or two of the metals are actually close enough that you could discharge a little bit in there and make like a harmless effect using some of your magic. So you don't need to like throw a marble or anything.
All right. Yeah. So I'll just inject a little bit of magic in there, and then at the same time just draw as much energy out of that radio as it has.
So yeah, I'm gonna need you to roll me twice on your magic. Once to like make an effect that isn't going to accidentally obliterate you.
Yep.
You just have to not fail at that. That's all you gotta do. And then another one to draw in, which could have some serious consequences if you fail.
Right. So it's 3d6 die. What do I add to it?
Well, so that is a mental skill. I'm decided. I can't remember what you're better at. Let me look. Yeah, so awareness or knowledge for this. I think knowledge fits the aesthetic of what you're doing better.
Okay. And then I
And
guess
then will, and it is your skill in magic. Will is going to be to draw it in, though.
Okay. So first roll is going to be an 8.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. You're going to have to tell me, pick one of these metals that you have that you think the effect that would be on this machine real quick.
Ooh, so considering they're sending messages, there's definitely some windswept tungsten in it, right? Because that message has to be transmitted through the air, and there's also definitely some aether alloy, right? Because that's just generally like some general purpose aether effects.
Yeah, that's going to be like the conductive wiring. Yeah, that's, well, just which one of those two did you target, I guess is my question.
I'm targeting the
to
aether
charge.
alloy. Because if that's broken, nobody can fix it.
Yeah, all right. So you like, I'll just discharge some of this, and like maybe you were planning on ruining this machine just a little bit. What ends up happening is there's like this hum, and like kind of the smell of ozone. As what actually happens is it activates all of the materials in the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get a chance to drain this thing because the first chance you have to like push aether into it, you have to like jump out of the hole as sparks start flying, and there's like a push of wind and electricity because there was like glass on there is just sort of an electrical signal thing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing starts fucking melting.
Oh, nice.
Bits fly everywhere. You have to jump out of the way. I'm not going to have you. Actually, yeah, you don't get to roll to avoid this, but if you want to spend points to not get injured, some of your ability points, you can.
Sure, yeah. I'll spend some ability points.
It was going to be 2 harm, so you have to spend at least 2 to not get hurt.
Okay, I'll spend 2 ability points then.
So yeah, you use the dodge move, basically, and just have to desperately leap out of the way, trying not to get hurt. And there's a very tense moment as sparks fly out of this hole, and the first mate is sitting there with a knife, and he like flinches. And then the 2 crewmates try and jump you. And I think that's actually a great moment for us to stop.
Oh, dear. Fantastic. Lovely. Wonderful.
What I want to know is, it's been like 3 hours, and I think that might be a great place actually to end session, and we can try and do like 3-hour sessions from here. We're filling all this out as we go along, guys.
There you go.
Yeah?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Fine by that.
Good,
Fine
yeah.
by me.
We'll figure it out next time,
Oh
huh?
my god.
Yeah, this has been the Violet Sea, our actual play stream of the Tri-System that I custom made so much of this for these players, and I'm liking what they're doing so far with it. Yeah.
And we love
My
you
name's
for it.
You're great.
Yep.
It's been
Well,
fun.
that's-
Honestly, I've been working on this for like 3 years-ish, just like tinkering with this system for a while. And it's the first system, well, it's the second system I made. I made like a very simple like fencing game once. Anyways, my name is Tate Washburn. You can find me at kinda_writing, where I do some of that tabletop stuff. Which one do we want to do? Which one? We're just gonna.
I don't know,
We're gonna go
man.
back to
Watch
that
it,
first
G.
one.
Your show, bro. Hell yeah, bringing it back.
Yeah. Paradigm shift is what that's called. Love it. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
you can find me at kinda_writing on Twitter. I talk a lot about tabletop. I talk a lot about just like memes and politics, and mostly I'm very tired on there. It's great. What you should really do is follow this channel's Twitter account at NeonLightsRPlay. It's where you learn about new campaigns. We announce when campaigns are happening, and you can also join us on our Discord, where I posted music as it's happening for this, but also we poll players for our one-shots and various things that other people are running. You should be able to find me next week, actually, in a new campaign I'll let Foxy talk about in a bit, and every once in a while I jump in our Naruto campaign, Blades Will, either side, because I like playing a bunch of random characters all the time. It's great! But yeah, I'll say let's do reverse order this time, so starting with purple.
It's me. I'm Purple Phil. What do I got? You could find me at Purple Phil. I am actually doing Twitch streaming now, so I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise and loving it. And I think I have a planned game for next Wednesday. I'm going to try and play some more on a stream. Other than that, my next big thing is tomorrow night with your favorite neighborhood friendly Fox. We're going to be doing the premiere of my new show, The Iron GM, which is a game show where two GMs come on and compete to make a one-shot in 1 hour. And then me and two other judges get to decide who the winner is, who goes on in the tournament to the finale to be declared the Iron GM.
It's gonna be rough.
We don't have a full list announced, but I will say that both Foxy will be on there tomorrow with also Saint, and that Tate is actually on the tournament bracket as well. And so I'm very excited for all this.
It's actually the best thing possible. Like, because the only way Tate and I can meet is in the finale. So it's like the ultimate rivalry. Because like one of the only ways we can meet is in the finale.
I promise it's not happening. I remember the proto version of this. I went way too hard into the paint. That's probably gonna happen again.
Bro, listen, we're gonna fucking come at it, and I assume. Listen, I'm walking in expecting to get slaughtered tomorrow. But we're gonna play it out either way. So fuck it.
See, I think you have the best chances because you've learned from a possible mistake, and you can move further.
That's
right, you have the experience here, like, you know.
Don't bite up too much. Don't bite up more than you can chew. It's so hard to pull it back enough.
Yeah,
anyways,
I don't know, fam.
Anyway, that's it for me. The only other thing is I'll be back here in 2 weeks for our next Violet Sea. Other than that, I will pass it on off to Lucian above me.
Hey, I'm Lucian. I played Oliver, our marble-slinging material scientist. I don't have a Twitter, but I do actually stream, and I've streamed a fair bit recently, so you can find me there next time, which, you know,
we love
we'll
watching
see when that is.
Evolution. It's our favorite.
My favorite evolution.
The only. All right, and that's me.
Alright, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot, you know. You can find me on all the social medias at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch. I stream on my own channel every Friday now. I played Arden Clark, the not burned out grad student but is really tired. In terms of where you can see me in the TTRPG space other than here, what you just saw every other Sunday, I'm over at TPK every other Tuesday and Thursday for our module weeks, doing Oathsworn, Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, and Queen's Gambit, our Tyranny of Dragons campaign, respectively. Let's see, what else? On the 20th, this Thursday, I am launching my D&D podcast with Heinz Dungeon called Dungeons and Discussions. So definitely check that out. There are some giveaways on the line. So we'll be sending out the info to be eligible for that real soon. And then on the 24th is the launch of Emerald Expeditions. This very eco-friendly campaign run by the wonderful Tony Steffens in our Discord that you should definitely check out. It's going to be cool. If you like me playing a scientist in this campaign, I'm playing a zoologist in that campaign.
Oh my god.
So
Oh,
I'm
man.
just playing all
Going
scientists
wild.
this year.
It's almost like there's
Uh,
a theme.
It's almost like there's a theme. It's almost like I really like that kind of thing.
All of these characters, I ask people like, "Hey, what skills do you want to bring into this game that you actually know about more than me?" And so, yeah, that's probably why
Yeah.
all these characters.
It's like, listen, I took oceanography. I know this. So yeah, I think that is about it. So let's move
Next, fail.
Hey, I've been Fail Prime. I play Reese. You can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, pretty much everywhere as Fail Prime. Most often, I will be streaming the various Final Fantasies, at least Final Fantasy 1 through 6, on my personal Twitch. And I am on and off in one-shots and campaigns on TPK. It's been fun times, and we'll pass it on up.
I guess it's me then.
Mhm.
Hi, it's Michelle. I played Quinn, our kind of quiet bodyguard, ship cook, medic person thing.
Ship dad.
Many hats on a small ship.
On a small ship, yes. With a small child too. And I guess you can see me here actually on Thursday for our Blades Will Alliance in Heaven campaign.
We back, boys.
Yee. So look forward to it. Otherwise, you can find me here next Wednesday, I believe, or either next Wednesday or in 2 Wednesdays for our After the End campaign.
Yeah, that's
Run by Foxy up here.
It's 2 Wednesdays, by the way. Don't scare me like that
Yeah.
again. I was like, next Wednesday? Oh, what? I'm not ready.
You better be.
It's shush, I am brain scrambled. But otherwise, don't look for me on social media. I don't social media.
She's not real.
Too busy being a combat dad,
Too
obviously.
busy being ship dad. Can't happen. I guess it leaves it with me then. What's up, folks? If you don't know by now, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox. Today I play the voracious, the loquacious, the rapacious Captain Dre. If you're looking for me otherwise, you can find me on the Twitter sphere at Big Foxy. That's BIG_FOXXII. I dunk on right wingers. I slay fascists. I have a good time doing it. Otherwise, there's so many things I can talk about that I'm going to be in. Well, and some things that I can't talk about that I'm going to be in. But as far as stuff that's going to happen, the next place you'll see me is, like Tate said, next Saturday begins the launch of my new campaign, Against the Light, a Kingdoms and Warfare adventure. We're playing Game of Thrones and D&D, basically. A lot of political drama, a lot of fun things, some warfare, some diplomacy, some battles, a lot of romance. It's going to be pretty horny, too, honestly. Let's just be real. It's gonna, yeah, so besides that, otherwise you'll catch me...
Foxy campaign, right?
Yeah, besides that, exactly, it's Foxy campaign. Then you'll catch me back here over on Neon Lights in 2 Wednesdays from now for After the End, my off-roaded story, a tale of moving on and what happens when we let go. It's been going deep, and next session's gonna be sad. So, you know, there's that. And then you'll see me the day after that, next Thursday, or 2 Thursdays from now, for the premiere of Into the Stormlands, a Pathfinder 2e adventure over on Weave the Tale. It's gonna be super awesome. It's an all POC cast. I can't wait to get my road going on there. And then the day after that, you'll see me back on TPK Roleplay for the return of Cold Hands, Warm Hearts. Azarus is back and ready to give giant robot hugs to all of his friends. Cannot wait for that. Outside of that, plenty of other things coming up. Lots of things happening in the months forward. Cannot wait to see more of this campaign in 2 Sundays. It's been awesome to be here. You guys are a great group. I love the vibe we have. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun here. And yeah, that's all I really got. Tate, any last announcements to bring before we get out of here?
No, just love that you guys are watching this very experimental campaign. I always love to take praise and criticism on these systems, but I'll probably listen to the criticism more, let's be real. And thank you guys for joining us.
Dude,
We'll see you again on the Violet Sea.
Can't wait. We're going to throw our raid over to Crit Drinking. They are at 23 viewers. Let's make it 35 even. They have got some wild circus shit going on for their D&D right now, so let's go check them the fuck out. So let's go head over. We're going to head over to Crit Drinking, give them some love, tell them hello, and that we appreciate them. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you here in just a bit, back on the Alliance Roleplay. Bye-bye!
Bye. Oh, the raid message is always the same. It's always, welcome to the chat room.
We ended on that.